What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite wrestling podcast. It is the Monday Night Wave, baby. And we back. It's episode 28. 28 of them things. We're moving along. We got a lot of solid momentum. You know, I like where we're going with this. Everything feels good. Everything feels smooth. With that being said, I go by your host. I'm your host, Jay. The babyface is babyface. Your mother's favorite babyface. The one and only, the big homie. But I'm nothing without, my number two, my right hand, my tag team partner. So for the fans out there, Mr. Heroic, would you please introduce yourself?
Thanks, Loner. It's the Loner Tree. He is.
I don't like you. I swear to God.
He is a wild card. He is the King of Gorgeous. He is Mr. Sexy Ass Lottery. He is Hero, and I am he. And I will say it again. Drink it in, man. Otherwise, I'll put you in the doors of Jericho. And when I break the doors down.
Wow.
Hey, welcome back to the Monday Night Wav.
The doors of Jericho. You created that monster, and I'm going to let you know that's going to live forever. That's going to live forever. Oh, fuck. That's good. That's real good. I guess the only thing you can say is, hi, guys. We got a nice little show lined up. A lot to talk about. A lot of crazy stuff. Just stories and drama and just people's opinions. It's been a very rough 2 days in wrestling.
The internet wrestling community, the IWC, has been... It's
just... I told a hero in pre-production that I've never blocked so many people on Twitter in my life.
Yeah.
It was a blocking spree, like just bad take after bad take, tribalistic versus tribalistic. It's too much.
Yeah.
And we'll briefly touch on some of those things, but that's as far as we're going. You won't catch me knee deep in defending anything. Not to that extent. So, I guess first thing on the news docket is one of those stories. It looks like the Lucha Bros' arrival in WWE is going to be halted, as it looks like Rey Fenix was tacked on with injury time. For a while there, it was confirmed, or not. I won't say confirmed, but it was heavily alluded to that the Lucha Bros are going to WWE, all the while, still being under contract. So, take that with however you want to take it. But it caused uproar. I personally don't like the idea of injury time being tacked on. I think it is greasy. It is slimy for sure. And I don't know how wrestling contracts work, so I can't speak on the details of it. I can just speak on the fact of man, if I was about to if I put in my 2 weeks for my job, and they're like, no, you took 17 days off in November, you got to finish those 17 days. That would feel a little slimy to me,
Yeah, that time you had COVID. No, we need you.
Yeah. We need to make those days up before we can let you go. And it wasn't no short length for Rey Fenix. It looks like it was going to be a little under a year, so they said 8 months of injury time.
Yeah,
which is a long fucking time.
I think it was 8 to 10. It was it was supposed to be close to a year. So,
so from that aspect, I don't really like it, but I do see where shit can get hairy, right? Because it's if you were being paid during that injury time, you were still making money for or while you were sitting. I don't know if that's part of the contract. I don't know, because I'm not really into that kind of shit. But also trying to get the most out of your performer. Hey, before you go out, put some people over.
Yeah.
Bump some elbows, raise talent before you leave. That's how most of the shit works. We seen when Ricochet left Raw, he got fucking body slammed on the fucking car, and that kind of put Bron Breakker into a different little level. Not a different level, but it just raised his stock up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel indifferent about it. Like I said, I just don't know how this all works in the wrestling world. Yeah, go ahead. What's your take?
Okay, so for me, it's okay. So as a company, TK, he does have the right to do this. He technically does. As far as the contract goes, is it kind of greasy? Yes. Is it hypocritical based on like everything that he prided himself the last 5 years, not only on Twitter but in interviews, etc., about workers' rights and all this other stuff? It's extremely hypocritical. It's very Vince-like. And the problem for me that I had with this whole issue was and I've said this on the pod before, I just like people to keep the same energy. And if you don't, just admit when you're wrong or whatever. So it's just funny seeing, and this is when the tribalism part kicks in, because you just see some of these rabid fans be like, well, he does, that's what they deserve because they're just going to go to WWE anyway, or all this other stuff. But, when it was Free Ali, Mustafa, it was a whole different story. Or like Luke Harper, when right before he went to Brody Lee / AEW, Vince added injury time for him, and it was a big ass. It was a problem. It was a big thing on the internet.
Right.
So it's just really hypocritical, and that's my problem with it. And my other problem with it is just in the standpoint of ideally it is like you said, like you usually would put people over before you leave or whatever, but the slippery slope with adding injury time is, okay, let's say I got 5 months.
What if you get injured?
Yeah, I do jobs for people, and I would have. Yeah, what if I get injured again? Are you just going to add a couple more weeks? So it seems like a loophole in a very slippery slope to do that, and it just seems like, based on the last couple of years, how the internet wrestling community has been extremely vocal online, and also the wrestlers themselves, it just seems like a bad. It doesn't seem good for optics or PR for TK to do this. With the kind of there's no point in having a disgruntled employee stay. We talked about it, I think, when we briefly talked about Miro, where it's like now you're in a situation to let's say Phoenix doesn't want to wrestle. So let's say he does not want to put over people. So then he's just sitting home and you're still paying him. When in theory you could just release him, you could save that money, you could use that for the next wild thing or next final countdown or something, and keep it pushing, because essentially, at the end of the day, you're delaying the inevitable. Like, him and Penta are going to go there.
They're going to shake. Yeah.
So whether it's next week or whether it's in 11 months, it's still going to happen. You might as well do it in the good faith, so that, because again, he prided himself on being the good billionaire, the workers' rights thing. So you might as well try to stick to that character, because now at this point, depending on who's looking, now you're looking real hypocritical. You look a little unfamiliar. So,
and it's weird because it's like, for example, Jeff got injured and Jeff Hardy is out. So it's like you didn't tackle an injury time with Jeff. Excuse me, which makes me wonder, was it something more so was it a pettiness on both sides? Was there a possibility that there was some shit that was being said that was okay, hey, well, you told me this thing didn't happen, and now we find out that this did happen. And I allude to Penta had made the tweet that AEW is my focus or my future right now. Tweet. He had made that tweet when shit started getting hot to where they're going to WWE. So maybe at that time, while under contract, you could have been talking to somebody, and it's hey, you still work here, motherfucker. What the fuck is going on? And that kind of got shit popping. Maybe that's where shit kind of took a turn and whatnot. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. I don't know. I need to talk to a wrestler. That's what I need to do. We need to talk to a wrestler, and we can ask these in-depth kind of questions, so we can kind of at least have a blueprint of how this shit kind of works out. But I guess in closing, I'll just say, once again, added injury time is foul work. But I guess it is what it is. And do your time, put people over, and then just shake in your 8 months. That puts them somewhere around, Mania maybe. So in October, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, May-ish, June-ish. So maybe they're SummerSlam-ish kind of. So that's still a popping time for WWE. We'll see y'all then.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is just staying healthy if they can. So that's why,
for sure.
It's if I'm Rey, who has been very injury prone, which is why the time is getting added.
Just added.
If I'm Rey, I don't want it. Or Rey Fenix. But yeah, if I'm Phoenix, I don't want to go to the ring, or if I do, then I'm going to be very choosy of who I'm going to go in the ring with. It's going to be somebody
Oh yeah, you're getting
to protect me.
zero effort.
Yeah, that too.
To spin the news cycle into something a little bit more positive, it looks like Kofi Kingston is doing an India appearance at the Forge, I believe is what it's called, and it said that, or through SRS, that the proceeds of this will go to the NavarroFarm.org, which is a farm for adults and children with special needs. And I love this. I love this 120%. Like, first off, it's Kofi. You know, I have nothing bad to ever say about Kofi Kingston. And second, I love when, like, you know, it's wrestling for, you know, proceeds that are really fucking like positive, you know. It's also another WWE superstar going out and doing work, you know, on the outside. So we're still seeing that trend kind of like, you know, take effect here. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool. I don't have much to add other than, yeah, it's super cool. Shout out to Kofi.
They announced that SummerSlam is going to be in MetLife, which I believe is in New Jersey.
Yeah.
The 2 nights, and it looks like Cardi B is going to be the musical like theme for SummerSlam in New Jersey. We were talking a little before the pod started that was she the host, and it doesn't look like she's the host currently right now.
No.
Of course, you know, you got a long time to get there. But how do we feel about, you know, the hip hop effects, you know, in wrestling now?
I mean, based on what happened 2 weeks ago, or yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's more people in tears. You know, I mean, man, honestly, I'm afraid for people to watch Bad Blood because I think it might be too nigga centric for people, especially with the hip hop. The hip hoppers, that rap music. I mean, yeah, this is not Cardi's first time being the host. She did SummerSlam before, as we talked about. It was the Vegas SummerSlam. So yeah, it's cool. And since it's in New Jersey, you know, she's from New York, so you know, it's not that long of a drive. I don't know if that's where she stays or resides. Probably not. But, you know, not a long drive. So even if she's not the host, there might still be a chance to do a musical guest type thing, or be a host, or, you know, have a wrestler be a host and she could still appear. I don't know, whatever. But either way,
yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah, either way, it was a good commercial. I mean, and also Easter egg wise, it's not just like the Cardi bag. Like they're like, you can see Bianca's clearly rocking a lot of Apple products in that commercial. So I mean, I feel like there's an Apple bag in there too. So you know, I'm just saying the EST might be the richest. Also, you know what I'm saying?
No, that's lit. The richest is fucking great. Keeping it like positive news, we have some news that Big E's getting scans done in 3 to 6 months to kind of see where his healing process is at. Lord knows I miss Big E, man. Like, that dude is heavily missed.
Man.
3 to 6 months kind of puts you. 3 is December, 6 months is probably around Mania, whatnot. To just see Big E get back in the ring would just I might cry. I just might.
I would. I mean, like whether it's past, whether, you know, yeah, like for example, let's just say Rumble, because that's always a good time for someone to return. But yeah, let's just say, for example, it's a Rumble and you hear, oh, y'all want to go big? Then say that. You hear that?
What? I'm popping, bro.
Yeah. Or you get the real New Day entrance. Oh, insert your city. Don't you dare! Yeah, you know, that sounds like gospel to my ears. Yeah, no, it's good news. It's also cool because a couple weeks ago he also like took pictures of him working out, lifting weights, which is nice. You know, you got to keep that body jacked.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, and we talked about it before. If he doesn't come back, you know, he doesn't come back. If he does, that would be absolutely fucking amazing as a fan. But if he doesn't, you know, there's different journeys in life. Hopefully he stays connected. Do more interviews or more of the press stuff that, you know, the pre-show stuff.
The pre-show, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, we just gotta, it's just one of those things. Take it day by day, but it's good news to hear. It's or you know, it's good. So hopefully Hopefully something good comes out
Speaking
of it.
Of guys getting work in the gym and lifting and being active, Mr. Kenny Omega is out there taking pictures in Japan, looking pretty active, and it made me smile. It's like, damn, like we might be on the verge of seeing Kenny Omega come back from wrestling. You know, we talked about him dealing with diverticulitis and getting the surgery and whatnot. So I felt nothing but just happy to seeing Kenny out there, like, you know, getting back in the motion of things. He's definitely I miss watching Kenny wrestle.
Yeah,
like,
that's some star power that I feel like him being on the show is going to add at least 20 more thousand viewers, just because it's fucking Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
But yeah, my only hope is don't rush it, because I feel like they rushed his last return because he showed up in like a goddamn body gear suit. like one of those suits that like had fake muscles in it or something. It's like, y'all could have he had like duct tape around his ribs. It's like, what? Just wait. Yeah, so hopefully he doesn't rush. And yeah, he was with that picture. If it's the same picture that we saw, it was also with Kota Ibushi, so he's getting also slightly more in-ring active. So yeah, we might see the golden lover boys back, which would be good.
I'm all here for it.
For AEW.
Keeping the realm for AEW. Saraya resigned. We found out that she resigned. I think I saw that it was like another year in AEW. And then currently today on Collision, I can't stand you. On Collision, she's doing her match with Jamie Hayter. So it looks like she's going to stick around for another year.
On the ride home from work, I saw a clip. Harley Cameron, I believe her name is. She takes a nasty table spot.
Brutal bump. Brutal.
That table did not break.
She missed it. It's like something like Saraya hit it, and then Harley was supposed to hit the other one, and it did not go well. Back is stiff. I believe the correct term is backiotomy. We need a backiotomy.
It's spinal. But yeah, they should have. I'm surprised that he didn't hit her with that 5-year 360 deal that he hits everybody else with, because Lord knows she needs to stay there. But you know, shout out to TK. This is my favorite signing. Keep her over there. So I'm here for it. Congratulations.
Shout out to the alternative being here. You know, this is praise like that. You know, shout out that there's an alternative to where she can be here.
Yeah.
Keeping like still in the realm of AEW, looks like Swerve on the Queen's Flip YouTube channel leaks that AEW is moving to Fox. We kind of speculated that was going to happen, but you know, my takeaway is like, hey, why are we saying this? Like, why is it out here?
I don't think it was supposed to be recorded, because this is not even me throwing shade. He sounded a little turnt by the way he was explaining it, because I've done that. You know, I've been like, hey man, we about to take over. You know what I'm saying? We about to be on this show. Hey, we about to do this, bro. Nigga, just wait, bro. Like,
nigga, I'm telling you, just wait.
I will say this though, his outfit was atrocious. I don't understand what this nigga is wearing. Cannot dress. Also, yeah, why are you bragging about Tony? Why are you bragging about your boss's money, bro? You bragging about your friend's car? You know what I'm saying?
And so that's crazy. So on one end, I'm like, why is he saying this? But on the other end, if he's saying it this confidently, the ink must be dry. Like, we must already be like in motion for this shit to happen. And now we're just waiting for like the dates and whatnot. Because I can only imagine, like, I would assume leaking some shit like this and the business is not done is kind of like leaking like Marvel deaths for like Disney and shit like that. Like, I think it was like a clip of like I think Mark Ruffalo and Don Cheadle, and he was just wait for this next one. We all die. And it was like, hey man, you can't be saying shit like that. So I would assume it's something to that level in the wrestling world where like we got big deals coming. Do not like leak this out, you know?
Yeah, but I find it again. This is not me trying to be biased. I'm trying to be neutral. I find it hard to believe that he would know the deal more than such as like the quote unquote EVPs, like a Matt and Nick. But the rumors,
I believe they know.
Yeah, I mean, right. It's just the way this leaked out. It seemed like it wasn't supposed to be recorded. It seems like they just they just left the bar or something. But that's allegedly. That's just me speculating. But Yeah, I mean, again, yeah. Hopefully this is right. Hopefully it's true because, like, another example of what you're saying, fellas. I'm sure there's been a lot of fellas that have had this situation where you hype yourself up to a lady. It's like, hey, when I see you, it's gonna be some action. It's gonna be this work. You gonna get this work, and then your last 3 seconds, yeah, because because to me it's something like if this falls flat, to me it'll be something
It's gonna
like
look
that.
crazy.
It's going to look crazy, and like
It's gonna look nuts.
he gets bad enough press for multiple other things already, depending on who you are. So, like, for me, if this goes wrong, I'm gonna have jokes for like 3 more years. So
I know. don't be wrong.
Don't be wrong, Swerve.
You better not be wrong.
You got to block me twice, nigga.
Oh, God.
But no, hopefully this is, like, again, the rumors. We can hear rumors from different notable accounts, like the Buck account. That's I don't want to say it's the Buck account, but it's something Buck. When they talk about numbers, they've been really, really pretty accurate. Anything that they talked about when it comes to like numbers and stuff like that. It seems like the pay-per-views to Max is kind of legit. It seems like there might be a show on Fox, whether it's FS1. It seems like it's kind of legit. We're just waiting for the exact full confirmation, whether it's from Tony or whether it's from the homie who owns WB or whatever, or not the owns, but the CEO. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
Zalzarav? I don't know. Zalzar? It sounds something weird. He sounds like a villain. But it takes, like, we just are waiting for official. So we should not say that this is official. But, what do they say? Drunk words speak sober thoughts or some shit like that. So maybe Swerve he wasn't bragging. He was on his shit. He was like, hey,
we big over here. We also found out earlier this week that the AEW pay-per-views are leaving Bleacher Report because Bleacher Report is not going to be a thing. Like, Bleacher Report pay-per-views are not going to be a thing.
Yeah, so it's going to be strictly on Triller and something else. So yeah, Triller, and if you go to payperview.com, and then there's one other thing you can find it on. But for sure, Triller and payperview.com, you'll be able to get the AEW pay-per-views.
Maybe they got a short little rental process with Triller, and then come January we on Max, which I think is going to be a huge thing. I already have Max, having Max and Peacock and Netflix, like, wrestling is going to be all digital, which is like solid for me.
Yeah. My concern, or I wouldn't say concern, I'm still curious about, like, their library, because I feel like one of the we need to be able to. They need a library. We need to be able to stream a lot of their old shit, just in case just in case someone misses the episode. We might miss a week because of vacation, or I mean, I want to look back at the first year and just compare it to now.
I do. I'm so interested.
I really want
to like watch it from a different like lens. I think would be very interesting to see. And just also, like, maybe this is probably what took us so long, is like, to get 5 years worth of catalog, get 5 years worth of content to put on a streaming service. When you think about 5 years of content, like, in the TV world, that's 5 seasons. That's either a good show is either 10 to like 15 episodes or something. So, like, to have fucking a year's worth or 5 times worth of a year's content on HBO is gonna be fucking insane. Plus pay-per-views.
Yeah. And hopefully ROH, because I mean they still have
for sure.
He owns that library, and that's like 10 plus years worth of content
of the growth of like superstars. KO, Cesaro, Adam Cole, Tyler Black, like Punk,
literally everybody.
Everybody.
Pretty much anyone who didn't go through NXT. Well, no, I wouldn't even say that. Anyone who's not a homegrown WWE talent has probably done ROH at some point.
For sure. All right, last story in the news cycle was a lot of different thoughts and speculations online. So Swerve and Mercedes both did Breakfast Club interviews this week. I thought they were great interviews, both sides. I listened to them both thoroughly. I was at work and I was listening to them, and they were very solid, very positive. And sometimes shit just gets misconstrued. I'm not going to dive into the details of the negative side of it, but I will talk about what they both said was really common was black value and understanding how much you're worth. So for Mercedes side of it, you know, we all know that prior to Mercedes signing with WWE, it was like, you know, she wanted to get paid a lot and WWE wasn't trying to pay her and whatnot. And I felt like, all right, she went someplace and got paid out. Go someplace where they are going to value, you know, what you're worth. It's not like Mercedes was not a top star in WWE. It's not like she didn't main event with Bianca. She had plenty of, you know, what do you call them? Like accolades in WWE to be paid what she was worth. On the flip side, Swerve also said the same thing to where, like, you know, his was a little bit different. He got cut during pandemic and had to work his way up, and he worked himself into being, you know, the main event guy for AEW. And they did pay him what he's felt like he was worth. Nothing wrong with that, guys. Nothing wrong with going someplace and getting paid a bag. That's what we all want. We all want to be paid, you know, what we feel like we're worth.
Right.
I feel that all that was genuinely said is that they appreciate where they're at because they are being valued. That's it. I don't need anything else. I'm not looking for anything else, but it just seems like that's the common denominator between the two is that they appreciate where they're at. Nothing was crazy said about WWE during these interviews. A lot of praise in these interviews, a lot of praise between, like, Swerve mentioned Triple H. He was like, hey, it wasn't a Triple H thought to get him cut. That wasn't Triple H's, like, he didn't want him to go. We all know that was a Vince thing. Vince cut people during the pandemic era. That's all that was. So if people actually listen to the interview, you're gonna get a really good fucking story. I also like the fact of him. He kind of like detailed his feud with Hangman, and to hear people who are not truly into wrestling question, you know, the effects of what happened during that feud, to where he talks about him being stabbed with the syringe, and they're like, "What was in it? What was in the syringe?" He's like, "Man, I don't know. I didn't ask him." And to hear regular people talk about this kind of shit is very fucking funny. He talks to him about burning his house down, and like, why is he not in jail? The same shit that we say too, but it was just like, how is he still in the streets? If you see him in the streets, are you guys good? He's like, nah, we're not good. So it was very hard for him to keep kayfabe in a real like interview. But I appreciate that. It would kind of make me think of like being a kid and like, you know, just a question that I would ask a wrestler if I saw Stone Cold, like, yeah, where's Kane at? Are you really beefing with The Rock? Like, that's just really fucking cool to me. Yeah. Outside of that, that's all I got. We can get into Raw if you're ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much of a comment. I mean, I don't know what to necessarily say. Obviously, I'm very pro-black, and I think every company does they at least try with certain talent to present them as champions. And I feel like there's certain narratives where, like, you know, Triple H is racist or whatever. But yet, like, it's when you like see the rhetoric, it's like, oh, there's not a black male, and it's like you're purposely like we see that you're saying just male because obviously you're ignoring Bianca, you're ignoring a Jade, shit like that, which is where the fake performative type shit comes in my opinion. And also, I think value is also a subjective thing. If Mercedes feels like she's more valued here, that is perfectly fine. That's not up for us to nitpick at or pick and choose or, you know, explain for her. If Swerve feels like he's more valued here or there or wherever the fuck, that's not for us to decide as fans or stands, which are even worse. That's not for us. For people like us, actual black people who watch the show, or just anyone who watches any show for representation, it is our job to critique and be vocal about where we feel like our representation might not be presented to the best ability, but it's not our job to speak for that actual talent, especially when we don't know them and we don't know the exact situations. Right. We weren't in the room, yada, yada, yada. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, and I did see the same thing you were talking about, to where they were saying, like, you know, they just mentioned the black male side of it, not the black woman side of it. Because like you said, we do see a lot of Bianca. We do see, you know, Jay. We do see Trent. Like we see them every week and they're on TV. I think for man, I'm not even gonna get that deep. I will just say that representation does matter, you know, like always. And of course you would love to see, you know, black men and women both get the same kind of level of like opportunities and whatnot. Especially in the aspect of like, you know, you're catering to like black audience with like, you know, oh, we got Metro, we got Cardi coming, we got Meg here, Sexy Red. So you're already catering to a certain demographic. If you're wanting black fans, why not also have like, you know, a black male, you know, superstar on the stage, you know? I think I saw earlier where people were upset that like Jade and Bianca were not on the Atlanta card, and Atlanta is a big, you know, black mecca. It's like, that's like huge for black people.
Right, but they're like what they're ignoring is that they're the host, which you can say that's not a great job, but they're still like they're
still part of the show.
They're going to be front and center of most of the posters. They're
doing all the press beforehand and whatnot. They're out there in the streets.
There's going to be quote unquote surprises, so that means probably more not counter programming, collaboration. Like we might see Megan, or we might see a Sexy Red. We might see a famous celebrity interacting with the, you know, WWE superstars and that shit. I do agree. I will say that it does look funny in the light when you do all these things for black culture, but you don't have like the black talent at like front and center all the time or whatever. But as far as the males go, and we talked about it, and this was before Bobby Lashley went, there's not a lot of black male single superstars on the main roster. They're mostly on tags, and most of them are small. Regardless, you know, so you know, like,
and
we don't have a black version of Roman or a black version of Cody at this moment.
Not yet,
but like that's
because I do think Carmelo will be up there, and I will definitely have a little bit. I will have some questions if Carmelo doesn't get pushed to where he's supposed to be pushed, but it's too early to say right now, so I'm not going to like dive into that.
Yeah, you still got people in NXT like Trick. Is it like when he does go to the main roster, like he's already presenting like star level quality, and that's on the
he is, but the audience is different. It's different between NXT and the main roster. We know that entirely.
True. I will say
the fans they're not as receptive.
Yeah, yeah, you know, you're right. I will say though, the one I want to say was like the first or two. It was the first or second week Carmelo was on SmackDown. He said something, and the entire crowd was saying "whoop that Trick." So there is some there is Trick is huge. Like, there is some symbiosis with the shows, which is why they've been doing mainstream talent or, you know, top stars on the show. Like there's a lot of intertwining, so it's starting to become again like more of a cinematic universe, so that it's not hard to super translate. Like, oh, I never watch NXT, but you might still know who Lola Vice is for whatever reason.
Yeah, and like that symbiosis was there, and also while that symbiosis was happening, like Melo did fight Cody, which was great. But it's more so about like when you have that symbiosis day one, how do we keep that symbiosis on day 317? It's just more so the effort with the creative when it comes to the black, you know, talent in WWE. And, like, yes, that one pop is great, but we want longevity. We want great storylines. We want quality storylines. We want great reigns and title runs and stuff like that. And so I have no judgment yet, but shit is definitely a little in the air, especially when, you know, I was very vocal about the whole gin and juice thing. Like, okay, so we can put them here. Let's put a title on them. We can put them with the right ad, but we can't put them in, you know, a U.S. title match and they have the fucking run, like that kind of shit. So,
but I feel like I just don't like. Again, I just want the same energy kept because I feel like, for example, like Swerve and Mercedes are the only two black people of color that are saying those opinions. Like, what's AR Fox saying? Like, there's a lot of black talent that still don't get bullets either. And, you know, you can argue within, you know, TNA. I'm sure there's at least a couple black people in New Japan. I would at least hope so. It's just, it's just one of those, like, if you're not at the top,
How do you feel?
Your narrative is probably going to be a little different. If you're at the top, you're
For sure, like anybody, yeah,
exactly. So, which is I'm very curious. We'll get into AEW because that actually makes me very curious about how Swerve is going to react when new people show up.
It's true. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Raw. Raw kicks off with Liv and Dom open the show. We find
a lowrider, very
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 Latino.
Hey, you see it, and as they're walking, Reed and you get a continuation of what happened in the previous week.
Yep.
Reed and Strowman are wrestling. They bust into a makeshift merch stand. And you just see Dom and Liv like, what the fuck? And they just keep walking by.
Yeah, let them go. Let them go.
Hey, if it don't fly, let it apply. You know what I'm saying?
I think we also get the graphic that it's Rhea, Liv at Bad Blood, and then it says Dom is going to be locked in a shark cage.
Yes,
and I don't know if they did this on purpose, like beforehand, because we didn't know. Was this new? Like,
no. Yeah, so I must have missed it, but yeah, I didn't know it was a shark cage until after the promo.
Yeah, they dropped it before. I was like, shark cage. I was like, what the fuck? Like, and I think the last time I saw like the shark cage like situation, I think it was like Carmella and like the guy that she was like her
Ellsworth. Yeah, he's a nasty.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm interested in like, what does this shark cage kind of like situation look like?
Yeah, there was one in not that long ago. Also, I forgot who it was.
You're right.
There was one in AEW not that long ago. Also.
Yeah,
I mean, it's it's gonna be great because obviously Dom is a chicken shit heel. People love the boom, obviously.
Yeah.
So visually, it's gonna look great, and it doesn't stop the rest of Judgment Day technically. So it's one of those things like it's like when someone asks for a cage match, and like historically in cage matches, people always still show up.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're still going to get a Carlito appearance, but maybe not because maybe they'll save that for the Damian Finn part. Who knows?
True,
but
maybe they do both. They are a group.
Yeah, it's a game. That's
Yeah,
but I think it's cool. I feel like you need a small step for this kind of feud. It's again, Bad Blood seems it's pretty much every match is like a blood feud kind of ish match, and
right.
You can't have too many stipulations, but like you need some chaos. And I feel like at this point it's time to add something interesting. And since this semi involves Dominic, regardless of what the internet says, I think it's a good stipulation.
So my question to get out of the segment is two things. One, does Liv win clean? And two, what would you like the spot to be with the shark cage? Because you have to implement it in the match somehow. So what's like a good dream spot, or what would you do with the shark cage element?
Maybe have a moment where Liv is like about to like where Rhea's like about to powerbomb Liv or something, and she grabs onto the shark cage and holds on, so it like prevents her from being slammed or some shit. And you get a visual of her tiny ass hanging from the shark cage.
Okay, I like that.
Something like that. Maybe. As far as winning, I think Dom sneaks a weapon I feel like brass knucks are too easy, and it's been like Logan Paul's thing for the last year and a half. But he could easily, I don't know, drop something.
The chain.
Yeah,
he might take the chain off the lock of the cage, and maybe that's what. Damn, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because that.
Besides the Elvers one, the other one in WWE, the last one I remember seeing. Well, there's 3 in the last like 5-6 years, because one of them had Enzo Amore in it. Was that Charlotte versus Sasha? It might have been Charlotte versus Sasha. Oof, that's weird. Anyway, there was one where Enzo Amore was in a shark cage, and he was so goddamn tiny, he like was able to like climb out while it was still hanging on. It was still hanging. So I mean, I don't. They could. I don't know. There's a bunch of interesting spots, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Dom like hides some brass knucks or something and drops it.
Yeah. Okay.
From the cage.
All right. First match of the night is Sammy versus Ludwig. My note in this is that I never really paid attention to how polar opposite the wrestling styles of Ludwig and Gunther is. Like, Ludwig wrestles real dirty. He wrestles like there are no rules to the game, to where Gunther's more so like the ring is sacred, that kind of. Ludwig is like, fuck all that.
Well, no. The match is still the ring is still sacred, but Ludwig he bends it a little bit though. It's still sacred.
Oh, for sure.
He gonna wipe his feet. You know what I'm saying? He gonna put his hands behind his back, but hey,
I get it. It's still, I don't know. The man is right. He moves a little dirty. He moves in like it was like that when he was trying to knock Kofi's head off. Like
it's more chicken. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say chicken shit, but it's
not chicken shit.
It's definitely more heelish. It's a different kind of heel than Gunther is. It's more of a cheating heel because Gunther doesn't cheat. He just beats your ass. Like he's a different kind of. He's a final boss kind of heel. Yeah, but no, like Ludwig, he's like
ring general.
Yeah, Ludwig, he'll talk to the ref, like, look at what he's doing, and then do some, poke you in the eye or some shit,
Right.
But yeah, match was good, man. I didn't write down too many spots. I've been trying to write down spots less because honestly, matches aren't usually
spot fest. Like they're not like. I'm focusing more on like how do I feel while I'm watching the match and what questions pop up while I'm watching the match.
Yeah. I've been like the last two or three Raws, I've had it down to only 2 pages of notes. When we first started, it was like for Raw, it was like
16 pages. No, it was like my notes pages. Were insane.
It was like it was ridiculous.
Like why? No. Capture your emotions, and then we'll talk about the emotions.
Yeah. But there was a spot though I did have to write when like Sammy tries to do the moonsault on the barricade and like Ludwig pushes him into the chair. It looks brutal as fuck. I mean, it looks like a comfy chair, but the way it looked like it hurt. But when you see the replay and so, it's like,
you're fine.
He was kind of he was cool. He probably got like a small stinger in the shoulder, but he's cool. But it looked brutal as fuck. It looked like it fucking hurt. I would take it.
So, but like Ludwig, I think Ludwig wins this match.
No, Sammy wins.
No. Okay, Sammy wins this match. My bad. Gunther does come out and he says something to the effect of, I think Ontario's the right place to tell you no. Like, I'm not wrestling you. So my question, how does Sammy get Gunther to say yes? How do you appeal to the heel? Do you disrespect him in the ring? Because like he's not listening to you. Do you antagonize him? Does Sammy go and hit Gunther? You're going to fight me regardless. I'm just going to pop you. How do you get him to say yes?
Okay, real quick. The Gunther coming out after the match, because he was speaking for like a good minute and a half. It was perfect trolling. Like
yes.
He was gassing.
He was in ring gear.
He was in ring gear, and he was gassing Sammy. Like he was putting him over. He's like, man, he was putting him over. He still was like, yeah, but nah, bro.
Coming out with the belt around the waist and is like, yeah, I'm walking up the steps and get to the ring
ropes
up
and shit. Like, yeah,
bro, he was ready to go.
And it was like, perfect troll. So yeah, the if Sammy doesn't hit him. Honestly, okay, because I feel like hitting him isn't enough because that happened when they were in Calgary. But also, what happened in Calgary was, I don't remember if it was Brett or if it was Sammy, but they were calling him a coward. So you have to attack his ego. And that's how. Like, I feel like that's how Sammy gets the match. And he's like, "Hey man, you a bitch." Like, I don't know. At this point, you got to call him a bitch. And so you a bitch. And honestly, if I was your wife, I hate you. Or something. I don't know. He got to go deep. He got to go at the ego.
What would your child think about this champ? Like,
he doesn't have a child something yet. Deep. But his wife's birthday was today. So I don't know. Honestly, Gunther doesn't have a lot of weaknesses because it's Gunther. So if you're trying to break quote unquote kayfabe, then I'd bring up his wife. Otherwise, just call him a Yeah, just call him a bitch. Call him a coward. Yeah, keep call him different versions for coward. Sammy knows like 3 different languages. Figure it out. You call him a coward in all
Yo, Sammy
languages.
calls him a coward in Austrian. I think that like that's you gotta hit him where it hurts. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you in your language that you a bitch.
Yeah.
We get a New Day promo where Woods is like, he wants to get more serious. He says they've been losing. They haven't had the championships in 3 years.
Yeah, and they apologize to each other.
Yep, for last week because Woods was tripping.
And Kofi did
probably
fuck up.
not. Kofi fucked up.
They both were in the wrong. They easily.
There we go. They're equal accountability. They were both in the wrong. And in return, Kofi says, this time, Woods, you get to call the shots. It's up to you. I'm going to take the back seat and I'll follow you. Enters American Made. They set up a tag team, and a tag team match. As their separate tag team match, maybe pop was that Kofi waving off the man with the unicorn horn and the pancakes because Woods is like, I'm trying to be serious. We don't need all this booty shit. We're different. Okay, we're not jokes. We are the New Day, but we're
bring a little more. Well, it's okay. It's not exactly that. It's more like Kofi brought out like a box of booty-os. He brought out a couple other things because it was like, let's go. It was more like, you're right. Like we followed off our ways. Let's bring back some old shit. And Xavier's like, let's not do the old shit. When we did that,
he brought back Francesca.
When we did that old shit, we were champions, but we haven't been champions 3 years. So we can't be. It's not gyrating our hips time right now and playing the trombone. So you're not wrong. It was just a little different, but yeah, you're right. But all that shit made me pop, especially when he was like, "Nah, cut that," and then Xavier's like, "What? You got my shirt?" He's like, "No, bro, your shirt."
You look great.
But obviously, because of the Odyssey Jones stuff, they have to pivot. But and we'll talk about it later when we get to the match. But they're still obviously planting seeds with this week and last week. With something going on with Xavier and maybe the New Day as a total, but for sure, obviously Xavier.
Yeah. Next match is Dragon Lee versus Carlito, and my notes for this are not too crazy, but they age poorly because my first note is I said if and when the Lucha Bros come, I would love to see them with Dragon Lee and like the merch design of like 3 masks on the shirt. I think that'd be fucking hard. Like some way, some form of fashion doing that would be kind of cool. And then, fast forward to fucking Friday and it's like, they're not coming anytime soon. But I will say this feud is hopefully the end of this because this is from Carlito attacking Dragon Lee like months ago, right? Like this wasn't like, this wasn't a new feud that they were doing.
No,
this
match it's not a new feud, but it is a run back because they did have a match after that whole WrestleMania Carlito betraying thing, and then Carlito did win this. So this is technically Dragon Lee's get back, and obviously both groups need something to do. But this is Dragon Lee's get back because he needed to get his win back essentially. So this is just him getting his win back. They had a solid match. I wrote literally no notes. So when you said you had notes, that's funny. But it was a cool match. And again, we got to see Dragon Lee on TV 2 weeks in a row.
Dragon Lee's great. Dude's fucking amazing.
Yeah, Carlito got some TV time. It was a good match. It did what it needed to do. So
with the quick little teaser spot, I don't know if you noticed, like during the Miz's promo, which came after this, as he's talking about his match with Bronson Reed coming up, there is with Karrion Kross. Wait, he was talking to Karrion Kross, yeah. There was a Peter Maivia like poster behind him, and how WWE is with like the teaser thumbnails, and I'm like, okay, so we got a Peter Maivia poster right in the frame on Raw, and I'm like, okay, maybe Rock might just pop up on that Raw on January 6th, which we found out is at the Intuit Dome in LA, right? So maybe it's Easter eggs for Bloodline on Raw, possibly.
It's funny, I didn't say it in the chat, but I think it was DT who sent that, or it was either you or DT. But I was like, when I saw that, I was like, fuck, that's a hell of a way to find out your birthday's on a Tuesday. Because I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, January 6th is Monday. That's great.
Next up, we get the Drew promo. Drew's ready to end this. Ready to get it Get it out. Get it done.
Wait, no,
He
okay,
says,
wait, time out. Okay, so after that cross,
"Oh fuck, you're
after
right. My
after
bad.
crossing
Go ahead.
Miz, after crossing Miz talk, which Miz is trying to figure out like what Cross's game is, and Cross is like, I just want you to be the Miz that I know. I want you to be the motherfucker who does it, whatever it takes to win. After that, we're supposed to get the Miz versus Bronson Reed, but before Bronson gets to the ring, Braun Strowman attacks, and
Yep.
they get into a fight, and Miz is pissed because like if you guys have been, if you haven't watched, if you've been paying attention to the story ever since R-Truth got attacked, Miz feels slighted by some of the comics. Be like, look, Miz, you're great. You beat John Cena at WrestleMania, all the yada yada, two-time Grand Slam champion, but you ain't a monster, bro. Like, you ain't big like that, though. Like, so he's taking a lot of slight particularly from Strowman, but not just from Strowman, but they're talking about internet stuff. They're talking about some of the other people, like that one time when Randy Orton was bigging him up on that one show. It's like, yeah, you could beat him.
Right.
So yeah, we're getting a turn. Like, Miz is going to eventually turn back heel, which is his natural form. Dare I say his perfect form. Yeah, but yeah, good storytelling. But yeah, that was it. It was real quick. It was real quick. But yeah,
it was. And then we also see, like, because he does tsunamis again. Like, he's doing tsunamis to like Braun Strowman, and then he's doing tsunamis to like the talent, like the extra work. And I'm thinking, like,
he didn't
imagine you come in to do it.
He didn't hit Strowman with the tsunami, but he did hit that extra talent.
Okay, so the extra talent with the tsunami.
Two extra talent at the same time, because like one dude's already on the floor, the other dude's like trying to stop him from getting on top of the rope. He pushes him or something like that. So essentially, they're like, they're laying on top of each other like a T or something, and then he fucking tsunamis both of them, and I'm like, dog, I am not taking that spot.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Like, as the extra talent, like, you got to go to work at DoorDash after this. Like, taking a tsunami like that is brutal, bro. Like,
let's be real. They go on Hot Topic in the morning, but you gotta hang up that Bullet Club shirt with a hurt back. Next thing,
I was like, bro, being a regular individual and taking a tsunami on a Monday and then going back to work on Tuesday, Wednesday, like, that's adrenaline will be high, but damn, you probably feel it the next day for sure. We had the Drew promo. Drew's ready to sacrifice it all. He wants this to end. He says, your sisters, your wife begged you not to do this match. My family begged me to do it because it's gone too far. I promise I'm going to make you bleed. And I'm like, that was a bar. I like that.
Before that, he repeats what I liked about this, besides what you said, is that he does reiterate a lot of what Punk said in the previous week, where it almost sounds like he's repeating him just to like kill time, but like there's a reason why he was repeating him. Like, these, like, Drew, Punk, like, man, like, separately, fuck the feud as a whole, separately, they are just so, and I'm still not fully sold on Punk. I still have my own personal animosities, but this man on the mic I would do a lot for him if he cut a promo for me. Like, and Drew, like, man, Drew he is such in his fucking bag, man. it's so good.
What's crazy is that going into this is like, Punk would be the superior, like, promo. Like, he's gonna have the best mic skills in this. But it's like, it's been equal. And I think the difference is that, like, Drew's emotions have to be, like, inspired in his promos, right? Drew just can't come out there and talk. Drew, in order to match with Punk, Drew has to be angry. He has to, like, be uncaged for this promo stuff, like, to feel like they hit. Because if you just came out and just try to talk bar for bar with Punk, you're gonna lose. But what Punk doesn't have that Drew does is the physical ferocity, like, behind his promos, and I love that.
Okay, you're not wrong, but you're slightly wrong only in the sense with Drew, because I feel like there has been a couple examples, like the example that Rollins got attacked by Reed when it was Seth and Punk in the ring before that attack happened. Drew came out and he wasn't talking angry to him. He was talking more like it was more trying to get under his skin in kind of not a comedic way, but like it was more mind gamey. Like he's had a couple mind gamey promos.
He has.
In like last week we talked about, like last week was probably Punk's most serious promo out of this entire however month long feud this has fucking been. But I do agree with you where it's like most people on the mic versus Punk does not work, but Drew has proven that like there's a reason they re-signed him. Obviously, there was a reason why he's a 2-3 time champion during the pandemic era. Yeah, Drew's fucking he's fucking good.
And to just tag along with that, and maybe it's a combination of like the way he's able to give you different versions of his promo. Like you said, it could be the quiet, silent assassin kind of promo where he's like getting under your skin. It could be the aggressive promos, but then in between that, you get the Punk in Chicago moment where he's like beating the hell out of him backstage, and like it just amps it up so much more. Like Drew's just doing phenomenal fucking work right now.
Yeah.
My next comment was like, Pierce has no control over the show. We say it all the time, but he really doesn't, bro. Like, it's Punk and Drew that is beefing. You got Bronson Reed and Strowman fucking damaging everything. Butch and Sheamus is going crazy. We're not stopping them at all.
Pete, come on now. Come on. Don't be a
Butch and Sheamus.
Go on, bro. Don't be a Butch by calling him Butch. You gonna call him
Butch? That's merch. That's merch, yo. That's if Sheamus don't come out with "Don't Be a Butch" shirt. That's merch. Bro.
Oh, that gotta go to Trick Mello from the diss song. You a butch, you know, yeah.
Fuck it, yo. To continue, the uncontrolling this, like he can't control Liv and Rhea. Like he has no control over this show. Why does this man have a job still? Like
he's still pretty good at it. That's why
he is terrible at this job. He be coming out like that's enough. They don't give a fuck about him. They treat Adam Pearce like he's a substitute teacher.
Well, that's like he's not as buff as Aldis because
like,
Aldis like
you want to do this shit to Aldis.
Yeah, granted, both of them are not. I mean, I feel like Aldis obviously he was wrestling before he came here, so I feel like he's still a ring ready-ish. So yeah, I mean, Aldis is buffer, you know, like his shoulders fill out that suit jacket a little different. So I feel like you can't talk to him all as crazy as you can talk to Pierce. Especially, obviously, Pierce has a history now of letting shit go out of control. But then again, like his ego is like, man, I don't know. Like if I'm, you know, look,
ask for help. Get you an assistant to the assistant general manager, man. You need some help running the show.
Yeah, but your help need to be buffed too. Like they need to be buffed though and ready for action. That's why, honestly, I was down for Kiana James, and I thought that's the route that they were gonna go. As like, because you know her,
because she was around Pierce, like she was trying to hang around Pierce a little bit, like
it was literally like 2 weeks. It was super small, and like her character is like an accountant type of thing. But then I don't know, something died. / she also got injured. But yeah, like I don't want to say he needs an enforcer, but based on the way that they have been portraying him the last 2 years or so, he could use an enforcer.
He being fucked around, bro, like pushed over. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like that one time that I don't know if you were watching, but it was before Joe went to AEW, and it was like he was Regal's enforcer for a little bit, and it's like because Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly their beef was just so crazy. Like, like Regal needed an enforcer, and like niggas was not like when Joe was there. It's like all right, I'm gonna chill because Joe's here. But when he gone, I'm gonna fuck you. And that literally, it literally almost happened where there was a point in time where Kyle and Adam were beefing backstage, and Joe, I want to say Joe choked them both out. He for sure choked out Adam. But I want to say he choked them both out. He's like, we're not doing this.
Joe's great. It's like, no, we're not having no chaos. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Hey, Wendy.
Yeah, Joe's great. That was also crazy too. I forgot about the Hey Wendy's. That was
I thought he was with the title after that. That was the perfect time.
For sure.
Second perfect time to put it on him. But you know.
Next match is New Day versus the Creed Brothers. This was a good match. Unless did I miss something? Oh wait, no, there was Unholy Union and Damage Control.
Yeah. Yeah, which EO's English is super. It's really improving, and there's someone Andrade's English also because I know they're on SmackDown. Like
Yeah.
both Andrade and EO had I don't know maybe a 40-second promo in straight English, and they like it was really fucking good. There was nothing, no mess ups. Like you can understand them, and like again, I'm pro people speaking their own language, but it does help captivate to a larger audience if people, the English people,
and
English
definitely like
speakers can understand them or whatever.
right.
But yeah,
It helps captivate the main roster audience because in NXT we don't give a fuck. Like like we don't give a damn what language you speak. If you come out there and wrestle, like it's gonna be fucking popping. Speaking of which, I will definitely try to tune into to NXT next week. That Chicago show is probably gonna be really fucking big. Do you have like any notes about this match, or you got anything you want to say?
nothing of note. Just I love all four women, and they had a great match. So
Cool.
yeah.
New Day versus Creed Brothers. This match had a lot going on in it. Just from the angles that were being played from like, Woods and whatnot. Woods loses control in this match.
Yes. Which he doesn't necessarily say he did. I want to say it was early in the show when he was talking to Cuff, he was like, we got to lock in.
Yeah.
Losing your anger, losing control of your emotions, that's not necessarily locking in, my guy.
No.
So that's a very interesting character thread. Yeah, because at some point, Gable, somehow he tries to intervene and Xavier loses his shit. He starts stomping him out and beating his ass to the point where it costs them the match.
Yeah. They call it the Brutus Ball.
Yeah.
Which was really fucking dope. That was really cool to see. And it looked like it hurt. But anywho, the Brutus Ball gets the win. Woods is flipping out. He's pissed off because Kof wasn't there. Kof got knocked out by I think Gable on the outside. He took a dive. And left Woods in there to get the pin. Woods is backstage after the match and he's flipping the fuck out. And we get the LWO pops up. We get LWO and Rey, and now Woods is over yapping at Rey. And I'm looking at him like, hey bro, relax. We don't want to yap at Rey. Like Rey talking about, I got to focus on Finn Balor next week. I'm just trying to get this match off of him. But now, you know what? Fuck that. Finn can wait. I'm going to see you next week, little nigga. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey,
so.
If I was... this is going to sound disrespectful. But if I was Xavier, I'd be like, I'll beat the stem cells out your little ass, nigga.
Oh, my God.
Hey, bro, without the nigga part, how loud that pop, nigga.
Where my head went. Now let this be a street fight. I would have taken the syringe and stabbed him in his knee. I would have pulled the stem cells out. Like I would have. That's a sick angle. It's like, what's in the syringe? No, he's taking the stem cells out, and just have him limp on the way back to the backstage. Oh, that'd been great.
You might be ahead of your time. I guarantee you we see that in like the next 10 years from one of these promotions. One of these promotions, you're gonna it's obviously the science is fake as fuck, but
for sure.
He's taking his stem cells out.
He's taking his stem cells out.
All the healing he did on his knee, he's taking it out.
Oh man, and just have somebody come out from backstage, and you gotta put the hang on their shoulders and limp out on the way out. Oh, that's genius, bro. That's fucking genius.
It's low-key great. The science doesn't work. It's corny. It's cheesy, but it fucking works. Put in the two right wrestlers, the right commentators. That shit will work. It's like
Oh man, that's brutal, man. That's a great fucking bit. So what do we think about Woods fighting Rey next week? Like, is he out of his league here? Like, what do you it seems like you're targeting the wrong individuals. Like, this is Rey Mysterio.
I mean, his anger is misplaced, but it's like I don't think it's out of his league. I think this is a really good match. I think it has, assuming it gets at least 10 minutes, this has an opportunity to be a really good match. I mean,
Yeah.
Xavier's obviously Rey Mysterio is one of the GOATs. If he's on your Mount Rushmore, I would not argue against you.
Nah, hell no.
Rey Mysterio is easily one of the best. And
Rey Mysterio.
Xavier Woods is an absolutely amazing talent in ring and on the mic, but also in ring. Like his in ring is highly underrated. And this match could be
I'm
fucking
glad you
fire.
reminded me that. Woods' in ring ability is great, but Woods, like his acting ability, his emotional like depth is also really good. Like,
Oh yeah.
when he looks frustrated and angry, you're like, damn, he's frustrated and he's angry. When he's happy and joking, you can see he's happy and joking. So, like, just the emotional range that Woods has is fucking great. And I like the fact that we're tapping more so into his dramatic side. The I'm tired of this. We're always losing. He thinks I'm a joke. I'm not a joke. Like, all I see is singles champions here. You don't think I can be a singles champion? I was like, oh, he is in his bag right now. So, like, it's good to see that range come out of Woods. Speaking of that, when Woods is attacking Rey, Kofi's like, bro, chill. Like, what you doing? This is unnecessary. So now it's like, you ain't got my back. You let him talk to me like this, and so he might be a little bugged. He might be bugging.
Man,
you know?
I hate when that happens. I hate when you get put in that spot. There's so many times. Man. Not to peel back too far behind the curtain, but like there's moments where my wife might be mad at somebody, and it's like, you're not defending me. And it's like, well, you're both kind of wrong. I mean, can we all just get along? I mean, everybody's kind of wrong. Let's just chill out. Let's just be chill. Like you're not defending me. It's like, do I gotta defend you right now? Oh man.
Like,
all right.
Fuck. All right. I gotta defend you even when you're wrong. When we get back to the house, I'm gonna tell you wrong. But in this moment, he was right. All right.
Do it here because we're public. But god damn it, when we get in the car, I'm gonna tell you where you fucked up at. Stop including me in shit. You ain't gonna get me beat up, dude.
It's a fight for my honor. He just forgot the hot sauce in the bag. I'll go in and go get it. Just chill out. Shit.
Chill out. It's okay. I'm sure they have plenty of hot sauce. It's okay.
They got plenty of hot sauce in there. You want green too? I got red and green. Just you be tripping sometimes. The main event of the show is Jey Uso versus Bron Breakker, and boy, did this not go how I thought it was going to go.
Real quick, okay, because I forgot to mention this last week, and so did DT. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I started a new thing with myself. Okay, so and I want you to set me up for this so I can explain it to you, or so I can explain. So okay, so I bark differently now because I'm still a Bron Breakker fan. Bron Breakker. Okay. I bark differently now, and I started it at the Portland show. So just try to hit me with the best. I got my dogs barking line. Just give me a setup. Right.
We here at the Wave, and I heard we got some dogs in the house.
Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. There's dogs in this house. Bark, bark.
Yeah, we real barking. Fuck all that. No, bark, bro. Besides, everyone was laughing. Besides the nigga that smell, because the smell fucked up his laughing radar. I don't know, it fucked it up. But if we barking, I'm a bark. You know what I'm saying? Because no one real biters are the ankle biters, nigga.
You know what that sounded like? It sounded like in Family Guy when they make Brian bark. He's not used to bark.
Yes. Yeah.
Bark, 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 bark.
He's like, what?
How am I not whooping? So I meant to mention that last week.
Fuck,
yes,
man.
This match, you were absolutely right. It didn't go the way that a lot of people expected, which was a good thing. Yes. The reason it was a good thing, and it's a spoiler, it's because you cannot have you can't have your top babyface lose every single big match. It's the same problem that we had with Daniel, or that a lot of people had with Daniel Bryanson. during his AEW tenure, where it's like this every single championship match this nigga lost. But then like, and then next week he'll have a fucking hour classic with MJF or some shit, or have a classic with Kenny. But then every time, like, you can't have your champion lose every single time. And again, we talked about it before also, to where they're doing their hardest to make the regular Raws, the regular Smackdowns also feel important to where people come to the shows, which is another reason why they sell out, why they've been selling out a lot. Fucking next week sounds like, next Smackdown sounds so fucking fire. Like, we get you're gonna triple threat tag team ladder title match next week. You get on top of 2 other good ass matches they're gonna get. Like, they're making these regular shows feel important, and another way to do that, besides, it's not just having the match to make it feel important, but it's also having that either unpredictability or having that shock value also.
And having a tinge of unpredictability.
Yeah, and it's for Jey, I mean, regardless of what, I mean, besides Rikishi, because if you listen to Rikishi, this nigga should have won the title goddamn 8 years ago, essentially. But like, it's one of those moments where, again, it's like, you can't ignore the pop that long. And it's similar to LA Knight, where it's like his pop was so consistently huge to where they had to put him in the title picture with Roman. Mm-hmm. Did he need to be in the top title picture, the main event title picture? No, technically no. The mid card is really where, I don't want to say where his peak is, but the mid card is like really, really fucking suited for him. But the pop was so consistent, it was so good, where it's like you have to at least put him in that orbit to see what he can do. And It's very similar with Jey, to where it's like, again, like, yeah, I mean, like, he's in the top 5 merch sellers he's been in the top 5 merch sellers for the last like fucking 5 months, 6 months, maybe even longer. His reactions
with multiple items of the merch,
multiple items.
Man,
when I saw that pink Heat shirt last week, nigga, I copped it, and then all of a sudden there's a sale and a deal for it, and I was like, fuck. But then again, I copped it. But it's like, I was looking at the 2 days before the show in Portland. Because I bought a new Rollins hoodie, and I was looking for anything else to buy. Like, Jey has one of those. He has those Brock Lesnar type of shirts where it's like, I'm a Yeet in Boston, or I'm a Yeet in Portland, or some shit like that. They didn't have a Portland one, otherwise I would have bought it. But like, he has merch city specific. Like, that's how over this nigga is.
Yeah, you're popping right now.
Like, where it's like, you have a Yeet in just Los Angeles, a Yeet in Houston. Like, so it's like, eventually they had to do this. And they chose a right time. And also, again, not every title reign has to be a Gunther or a Roman Reigns type of title reign. So Braun is not Breakker. He's not buried. He's going to do fine. The nigga's like 26. He will probably win this title like 8 more fucking times on top of all the other titles he's gonna win. But I buried the lead. I went a little ahead. I did a little spoiler, but I just had to get that. I just had to get that off.
So, how I look at it is very similar to where, like, you are right. Jey he's white hot. He's at the sun. Like, you can't keep sitting here and, like, trying to ignore the big elephant in the room, is that this man is pushing numbers. And the safe way to do that is by giving him the IC, because if you do not give him the IC, you then have to put him in the main title picture, and that's kind of like convoluted right now. We don't really want to put you there. You were up there against Priest. I don't want to set you up to where you lose against Gunther. Like, no. It's easier to knock out the guy, get Braun out of here, and now we got the Yeet Man as the IC champion. It makes a lot of sense from that end. As far as like the trajectory for Bron Breakker, I still think he probably still feuds with Jey. Like, he'll probably get a rematch at some point, But also, like, the idea of metaphorically barking up the wrong tree. Like, you went after Jey Uso, like, you were hitting everybody else. Everybody else you put out. You took Sammy out. You can fuck with Ilya, and you took out Ricochet. Like, but when you bark up the wrong tree, you get laid out. You were not prepared for a Jey Uso. So that was really cool for me. I like that. I like the idea of a more ferocious Bron Breakker? What does Bron Breakker look like after no title? Like, how much more aggressive does he get? But yeah, I loved it. I think it's well deserved. He gets his first championship in 14 years.
First solo
It's going to be
championship.
first solo championship. Yeah. Without the help of the bloodline, without the help of his brother, as his theme song says, it's just me. And I like that. I think it's a good moment for Jey Uso, and I have nothing but praise for that. Yeah. Next up is, of course, AEW. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Warp drive.
And we're back, people. Let's talk about AEW Grand Slam. Big show for AEW. A lot happened here, so we're gonna quickly dive into it. Show kicks off with Bryan Danielson versus Nigel Mcguinness, but before we can actually confirm if Bryan is here, Nigel's out there in the ring. He's waiting for Daniel to come out. He says, we're scheduled for a match. Start the countdown. If he's not here, I'll win whatever, whatever happens. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Start the countdown. And I like this because they start the countdown. As soon as they get to 6, the final countdown hits. So I love the Easter egg tie-in of start the countdown and it turns into the final countdown. That was well played. Very fucking clever.
Yes.
As far as the match, these motherfuckers beating the shit out of each other. Like, I'm not familiar with Nigel McGuinness' wrestling style, but this man is lethal, very brutal, very hardcore.
Since you said that, and I'm not trying to get into a deep dive combo, a red talk, nor a rant, but since you said that particular part, how did this feud play out to you? Based on how it was told, based on what you know. So, like, this is not me asking current loner, who is obviously a wrestling podcaster who has to be tapped in. This is me asking you before we started the podcast. Loner, did this even though the match was good, did the 3 weeks before this match happened, did this translate to you? Like, do you understand the
No,
story? Okay.
no.
All
And
right.
what I mean by that is that like the story itself didn't really translate for me. I understood that they had a beef and that he was his brutal rival in ROH. But because like I'm not as invested in the ROH like storyline, like when Nigel popped out at All In, it wasn't a big thing to me. I didn't know who Nigel was.
Yeah.
But for some people out there, that was like fucking big. That was really fucking big.
Yeah, no, it was huge.
So with this feud and how like how everything played out, no, it wasn't too big for me. Like,
okay. So me asking you that wasn't me trying to be like a gotcha moment,
no.
type of journalism or anything. I just wanted essentially what I'm trying to point to is that like even like I've been super tapped in since again 2015, but I'm only super tapped in to a certain extent. So it's like
Right.
I'd never seen ROH shit, but I knew of it, quote unquote. So again, like I guess my whole point of this, it's not the shit on AEW. This is not me again. Like this is not that moment, and again, it's not me also talking about other shit. It's just I just wanted to pinpoint or talk about like the translation of how the story took place, like regardless of like the whole Darby Moxley part and me saying, "Oh, this doesn't make sense," blah blah blah. And obviously, I'm not the only person saying that, but I was asking in the sense, I just want a neutral opinion on the sense of like, did it make sense? Because again, like, yeah, if you're not super tapped into ROH from 2005, 2006, then yeah, you might not fully understand what the fuck is going on. Like,
you might not have any emotional engagement in it.
If you just started watching AEW in the last year, as far as you know, this one dude is only a color commentator, and this other guy is a wrestler. So
yeah, that's how I've seen it.
Yeah. All right. Okay. That's all I wanted to know. But overall, the match, to me, the match was good. I'm going to say it didn't fully live up to the hype, but there's a reason for that. I mean, again, this is Nigel's technically second match. His first match was it was a battle royal of Rumble, essentially. It's been 13, 15 years since they fought.
Yeah, this was his first singles match since 2011.
Yeah, so that's absolutely fucking wild. And you can tell he got blown up. He got blown up soon or early. Like you can tell he was kind of gassed a little bit, but his physique is fucking wild. The chain wrestling, what they actually did, they did tell, like it was good. They themselves told a story. I don't think it technically makes anything else as far as what I find as a problem. It doesn't make any of those other things make sense. But as far as if we just put this one match in a box and ignore all the other bullshit, this was a pretty solid match.
Yeah,
the story still left to be desired.
I don't care for it. Not saying I don't care for it, but like it just
it didn't make enough sense for you to again grasp on it, because that's what story is. Like
right.
you're supposed to grasp on it. And it didn't help that Bryan hasn't shown up since.
Then that was my next point.
Since he was in the bag, so it's like, because like it was either last week or the week before, where it's like it was only Nigel, and he's like, "This is why I'm doing this. If you listen to me on commentary, I've been hating on this thing this whole time." It doesn't play. Okay, so but again, just for the audience to know, I think this match was fine. I think it was good.
Yeah, it was a great match, and you were absolutely right to where like the story part of it didn't really resonate with me because I wasn't watching RH in back then. But for somebody, this was like their dream match they thought was never going to happen again. It was a dream match for a very niche audience, right? So some people very fucking love that.
That's AEW's biggest problem. Or that's Tony Khan's problem.
Exactly.
He does things for niche audiences.
Yeah. So when that happens, it's like, yes, you cater to that small group, but on the other end, you only win this other audience of people They still having a great match. So in the end, it looks like it's a win-win, right? But when it comes to the storytelling element and having everybody engaged in the same story, you're kind of like, you're off. But match quality wise, fucking good. It's Bryan Danielson, he's your AEW champion. People are going to tune in for that. So at the most, you saw your champion defend his title, and you saw a good match from your champion.
Yeah, I mean, match quality wise, AEW is always going to deliver. Like, unless you super hate the spot fest type shit, AEW is always going to deliver on the match quality, especially during pay-per-views. Right. I feel like we talked about this, a couple weeks ago. Like, it's like their pay-per-views and their regular TV doesn't necessarily super translate, but match quality, if you want to see niggas doing moves and killing each other, you're going to get that, and that will be delivered. If you want to super see a story, it might depend on who is in the ring. Like if it's not a Moxley, if it's not a Bryan Danielson, if it's not like a certain few, then you're not going to get to see that like story part that you might get from an E or maybe even a TNA, but you're still going to get the match quality part. Oh, no. NXT is easily it's probably the best show out of all the shows. Raw, SmackDown, TNA, like it's probably the best show consistently as far as consistency wise.
Yeah, so like with storylines and stuff like that. Yeah,
and in ring quality.
Ooh, I like that. I ain't gonna lie. I did watch the Denver show. I think it was like Heat Wave in Denver. I think that was the pay-per-view, and that was a good fucking pay-per-view. I did like that. Post-match, Christian Cage hits the ramp looking to cash in his opportunity for the AEW World Championship, but he is stopped as Kip Sabian steals his pin. Now, to the people who do not watch Collision, this looks crazy. It's like, why? What the fuck is the tie-in here? But on Collision, Kip has been around Christian Cage and has been hinting at like being in this aura. They haven't explained why, but Kip Sabian has been actively inside the patriarchy's business for a while now, which would have benefited from like a video package or explaining, what the hell or who Kip Sabian is.
I mean, even then, it's still kind of slightly confusing because, like, if we look at Kip Sabian's like entire AEW run, he had the hot lady who I think was his real life partner or not, I'm not sure. Then Miro came along as his best man or some shit. They were gamers or whatever. That broke off. Then he disappeared for a while due to injury. Then he was like on show just with a bag on his face.
With the bag, I was like, did he have a bag?
Yeah, with a Browns fan or something. And then after that, he had like one moment. It was like 2 weeks where he like took off the bag or some shit. Like, I don't know. His character is extremely weird.
So he reminds me of how they used Dexter Lumis prior to the White Six. It's like there's a moment where Dexter Lumis was just fucking with people. Like there was no rhyme or reason to him fucking with people. Like he was just in the crowd fucking with Miz. Like he was backstage just looking at people. It's very similar to that. But yes, to people who are not watching Collision, Kip Sabian has been around the patriarchy in their business for a while now. But as he runs to the back, we see that Pac and Claudio is also backstage, hinting possibly at like, you cash that in, we're gonna fuck you up.
Which protecting also at the what was the last show? All Out.
All In. All Out, yeah.
All Out.
Okay. It was All Out. So yeah, it seems like they're protecting that championship match between Mox and Bryan. Like that's what they want. That's their goal, is to make sure that shit happens without a hitch. We get Hook versus Roderick Strong. This was a pretty solid match, but the big story of this is that we finally get to see Hook retire the FTW championship. We've been asking for it. It's finally happened.
We literally talked about it last week. I literally said almost word for word that this should happen, and it damn near happened.
Yeah, we were 3 for 3 last week. We were hitting. We were hitting hard last week.
We definitely hit. We all should choose a lottery number, and then we should take a split from there. But look, Roderick Strong, he's going to put on a good match. I'm a fan of Hook. I just think the way that they handle this character is a little off, but I am a fan of Hook, and I think he has the most amount of fucking absolute potential. But honestly, I would say that this moment was my favorite part of the show, and it's it's my favorite part of the show because it's like it's again, like we you and I talked about it so much, like even with or without DT, it's just one of the things where it's like, man, like I needed you to be your own man, and now he's going to be his own man, at least to a certain extent, where it's like, again, the FTW was not real. It made no sense why other people wanted it. It is, I will say, in hindsight, I will accept the argument. I will hear a debate about how it was cool that other people, like, because after he retired it, like Taz, he thanked everybody who held it. Like he tagged everyone that held it between Starks, Hobbs. Hobbs, Jericho, etc., etc. So it did build a small lineage, but like audience can see it, but it's in quotes because lineage is in quotes because again, it's a fake title. It wasn't a title that wasn't technically included in the ecosystem or universe of what is AEW. So
was it like a speed title?
It's a speed title. It's a speed title that's actually on the actual show. So it's like if Andrade and Melo fought this last SmackDown, but he actually had the speed title, but they also didn't talk about it still. And if they did talk about it, it's still like, yeah, well, Ricochet had it before, and that's it. Yeah, it's like because again, at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking mean anything. Like even though it's on the main show, even though it's on pay-per-views and Wembley matches and all this other stuff, it does not mean anything in the canon. No matter how nerdy you are about the actual history of wrestling, and that includes TK, because like it was the other month, like a fucking reporter like talked about it, and TK nerded out because again, he used to be a fan just like everyone else. Well, he still is a fan, but like he broke down the history. He's like, well, yada, this held this. Like he is actual fan. Like he was in the dirt sheets. He used to be a person in Reddit talking about wrestling all the time and all this other shit. But at the end of the day, that doesn't change how the perception is of that title for the entire show. So anyway, saying all to say, I'm very glad that this moment happened. Talked about it last week. It actually fucking happened. We know there's at least one person in this company that listens to our show. Please put us on. Okay, I'll say more nice things if you pay us. I won't respect Swerve, but I'll say some nicer things.
No, that's the best part. Send them to whose house? That's autograph. Do that for me.
And I'm gonna say Adams. Whose house? Adam's house. Nigga.
That would be hilarious if they sent us merch and you got the whose house with the flames, the Hangman Page version. That's fucking funny. I like that.
That's the whole reason he blocked me, because I told him, I said, Hangman barred this nigga up. He blocked me.
And he blocked me.
That's why Swerve blocked me.
Fuck, that's funny.
Anyway,
so with the FTW being retired, it now allows Hook to venture freely into these other title pictures or matches or whatnot, and I definitely believe that he should be in the stratosphere for the TNT. So that means running matches potentially with Jack Perry. Like once Jack Perry gets done doing what he does, I would love to see him in the mid-card range to kind of see how he fares in that realm.
I am going to pull a loner card, and I'm going to say he should win the tag first.
Oh.
He should wait till Joe comes back, and they win the tag.
Ooh.
And then he can go after the TNT and the Intercontinental, or the International and the yada yada. But I think because he's not going to beat Okada. And
definitely not.
I don't think he's going to
beating Jack.
I don't think he's beating Jack either. No. So then what? Then it's ROH.
Not beating Ospreay.
Jericho's already going after the ROH one with Mark Briscoe. So I feel like bring it back to the tag. Joe should be done filming relatively ish soon. Like I don't know the filming schedule, but he's literally only a body double, so his filming should be done soonish. Bring that tag team back. My only fear is that Joe would want technically kayfabe wise he should want revenge with Jericho, but we don't need to see Hook in that vortex again. So that's my only negative with it. But I feel like his first real title should be with Joe, and it should be the tag.
And because it doesn't have to do with Joe. He can do it with Shibata, and then have Joe just do his shit on the side too.
Joe, because you still need a good talker.
You do,
and Joe's fire and
Joe. No, we know.
And the Young Bucks, like this tag reign is it's been dwindling, like just like WWE and AEW, their men's tag division it's not as good. And AEW,
it's full of potential, but we need to use it correctly. It's right, like
you got to build other teams because there's no team right now that looks like they could beat the Bucks right now. If it wasn't going to be Ospreay and Fletcher, then who the fuck is going to beat the Bucks? Who else is believable, right? So, oh, sorry, spoiler, but Fletcher and Ospreay do not win.
We can talk about it. So next match was Bucks versus Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay, which I love this match. I enjoyed it. I love seeing good tag teams. To where originally I was like, damn, why is Ospreay and Fletcher winning? I get it because for star power, but also like fuck. But it didn't miss for me. Like this was a good match. I loved it. The cause to them losing though was the hesitation from Ospreay and not wanting to use the screwdriver that Don Callis gave Kyle Fletcher. Fletcher was like, fuck it, I'm gonna stab somebody in the eye. Like we don't get these belts and be out.
Right.
Clearly not fully babyface either, because he was kind of upset that Ospreay stopped him from doing it. And post match, you could see Fletcher looking at Ospreay like, "Yo, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, we was this close to like getting it. Like, why didn't you know? Why'd you stop me? The whole purpose was to win." Maybe possibly hinting at Fletcher doing something with Ospreay, maybe turning Ospreay. I don't know.
I think. I mean, honestly. No, I'm pretty sure on one of our shows, I predicted that this was going to happen at some point. I didn't think it was going to. Yeah, no, like I think Kyle and Don flipping on Will was. I feel like that was a get go. Once Will was like, no, I don't want to be part of this family anymore. I feel like that was always the story. Did they tell the story well? Of course not. Because, for example, there's been two to three times where Callis offered Kyle the screwdriver also, and Kyle didn't take it because he didn't want to cheat because he wanted to follow in Will's footsteps. Now, if that's the story they're going to play on, hopefully they capitalize on it. But based on the way that they played it previously, and based on the way that they played it during Grand Slam, it doesn't make any sense because there was, again, multiple weeks where Callis tries to get Kyle to cheat. Kyle doesn't cheat. So fast forward to this tag match for the titles. Now Kyle wants to cheat. His bruv, Ospreay, stops him because he's like, we ain't got to cheat, bro. We can do this type of thing. And then they lose. So I do feel like this is going to turn. I feel like Fletcher is going to turn. Whether it might be next week. The
5 year.
It might be the 5 year during the Ricochet shit. Because honestly, it's Tony TK's booking is really predictable. I mean, WWE. I was going to say WB. WWE's their booking can also be predictable. But with TK's, his is predictable, but it's also like super left field to the point where it's like, wow, this doesn't even make sense. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to turn out. But I'm assuming Kyle is going to turn during this Ricochet match or after the Ricochet match, and it might set up for Will and Ricochet versus Fletcher and Cascade, which would be a good match. Honestly, I'd see like that for a Dynamite main event. That'd be nice, personally. But yeah,
Yes.
I
So
think to me it was just weird.
I think you're right in the way like the story may be Fletcher turning on his mentor in this. And I'm just speaking like from like a future tense, like, okay, so we know that Ospreay is one of their single stars. We know that the Don Callis family is also about to was trying to split, or they're trying to tell a story about them splitting. But also with Konosuke, like we know that Konosuke he's not going to be in the Callis family for too much longer. I think the writing's on the wall here with the Okada thing, where like they're going to lock arms at some point, and Konosuke is just going to do his own thing, hopefully with the Continental title. And that just leaves that the Don Callis family needs a new face. It needs somebody to be there, especially because they lost Trent too, because Trent was supposed to be in it. I thought Roos was supposed to be in it too at one point. I don't know. But to have a new guy kind of emerge as like this heel would be Kyle Fletcher, and I think that would work out really well. Yeah, so I agree. I agree that the story probably is Fletcher turning on Ospreay. Yeah. At this point, I don't know who's next for the EVPs. I don't know who's going to come in and like stop their reign right now. Currently on, or this Friday's Rampage was Acclaim still going at MXM, so they're out. FTR they weren't at this week's Collision. If they weren't going to be there anyway because of that hurricane. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure who's next up for the tag belt. But hopefully we're building on that.
Yeah, there is a new faction that gets created tonight. Spoiler. It's a Latino faction, but I don't think it's them either.
No.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Sorry,
and it could be a continuation from Grizzled Vets. They did have their match with FTR already, so maybe they shoot their shots at the Bucks because they did show up at All In. It made their presence known, so we'll see where that goes. Next, we get a big surprise. Nana's coming out. He comes out, lets people know the status of Swerve and where Swerve's been at and what's going on with Swerve, and that he should be at the 5-year show. But as he's making this announcement, well, actually, he says Swerve means a lot, and he's mentally strong, but physically, he's not quite there yet. So physically, Swerve is not cleared technically, so we maybe probably won't see him next week. But as he says that, MVP shows up, which is not surprising because we kind of figured this is where he's going. But it's still a big moment because now MVP's here. And they're having a manager off. And he says I took notes. He says something kind of funny. He says, Swerve is the most phenomenal wrestler to step in the AEW ring. He beat Samoa Joe, Roddy Strong, Christian Cage, Will Ospreay. He said, but,
two of those,
He says, but MVP said he saw Swerve lose at All In. He saw his childhood home burn down. And now he looks at Nana and is like, "But why is Hangman still walking around after all that he's done?" And I was like, that is true. And you as the manager, you still letting him walk around. If your boy's not here, you still not about to tap in and make sure that hey, this ain't over. He over there working on different feuds. Hangman is.
Well, to be fair, I know I see what you're saying, and I do understand it. But if we're going to go kayfabe wise, wrestling. Okay, let's just do kayfabe logic real quick. Swerve has no friends right now.
None.
And then Nana he's not the kind of manager that competes. Even Stokely had a match.
Right.
Nana has not had a match.
Right.
And what the fuck is MVP has a goddamn cane, so he ain't gonna compete either. My nigga, so what you mean? So if I'm not Nana, I'm like, you need to take a hit of my espresso, baby, my new coffee line, because my nigga, you barely can walk, bruh. That's what I would have said.
And it's funny,
but
it's funny because he mentions it. He was like, He said, "You too busy shucking and jiving and shilling coffee." And I was like, "Oh fuck, oh shit."
That shucking and jiving line, it was kind of wild, especially based
No,
on the other, the breakfast club interviews and whatnot.
It was crazy. I was like, "Fuck." Shucking and jiving always make me feel a little like, oh, that's a little grimy.
It's almost like,
but
he was tap dances for the whites.
Nah, for sure. It feels very you was tapping. He hands him his business card. MVP hands Nana his business card that says MVP, and then people zoomed in on it and says the Hurt Syndicate,
which was nodded that it was trademarked at least a month ago or so. It was trademarked at the Hurt Syndicate.
So we knew it was MVP is not alone. There's a syndicate already built. He has a team ready. They're coming. They're coming to AEW. Are we ready to just say it's Bobby? Can we say that?
Well, I was in the chat. On the chat last week, I assumed Bobby was going to be the third for the Hurt private party. So when MVP showed up, to me, it was one of those moments where I was like, I was half right. One of these niggas showed up. But yeah, I feel like it's easy to assume, especially because, and I was going to comment on it when we were talking about, Mercedes during the Black Value segment, where again, it's like for example, WWE would have gave Mercedes a bag. It might not have been the amount of zeros that she wanted, but she would have gotten a bag. But the difference between both bags is that also Tony might give you a private jet. Tony's going to give you time to film for stuff that she
creative freedom.
Yeah, because she talked about multiple times like how Vince in particular stopped her from filming. Like she was lucky to film her Star Wars shit, but apparently there's other stuff that she had to neglect or turn down due to Vince or whoever the fuck be like, no, you can't do this. So like when it comes to contracts, when it comes to certain things between multiple companies, like it's not just the dollar signs. Like that's why it's like when we had the comments where like Will was super upset about like Triple H's running from the grind comment, even though it might not have been directed towards him in particular, where it's like, again, like different strokes for different folks. Like
facts.
Like exactly, maybe you have a family, so yeah, you can't be on the road as much as E, and if Tony Khan's going to give you a private jet to go back home, then yeah, it makes more fucking sense to go to this company because you get a blah blah blah. So it's all about the amenities, right? So in saying all that, I lost my point. Oh, we're talking about Swerve and Bobby Lashley. So in saying all that, because it was noted after Bobby finally left, where it's like he wants to do some real combat again, and also Japan has sights on it. Like again, he's a big ass black buff guy. People are going to want him. And with him being tied with MVP, this is good shit. So this is what I was alluding to earlier, where it was like, okay, so all right, so here's my question. Let's say Shelton Benjamin and Bobby for sure come, which I think is going to happen. Does MVP join? Does Swerve Scott join, or does he not join? Is his first feud with Bobby Lashley, or is he part of the Hurt Syndicate? What would you prefer, as someone who's more of a Swerve fan than I am? Would you prefer him to join a group with a Lashley and a Shelton / MVP, or would you rather him turn it down, stick with Nana, and his first feud be with a Lashley or a Shelton, yada yada?
I would turn it down. I would like the idea to be Swerve versus Bobby, because I like the idea of my client's better than your client. I like that moment of like tension there, and they won't do it like longevity wise, so where they'll keep them apart for maybe like 3
No.
months. They're probably gonna give it to us like the first fucking 2 months.
No, they'll do that shit immediately, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
because I think like if you stretched it out and like did it correct, I think you could really like amp it up. But that's not AEW's motto. They're gonna give it to you like right away. So at that point, it's purely dependent on the promo battles that's going to happen and the intensity of it. And it's more so like how is potentially AEW Bobby going to be different than WWE Bobby? What does that look like? I wasn't here watching TNA Bobby, so I didn't see that. So I'm very interested in see what kind of styles or what the word is or the term is unlocked moveset that Bobby has to offer for like AEW. That's going to be very interesting for me to see.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get an unlocked moveset. So okay, let's have another speculation. I'm just here asking questions. I'm Hero Jones here, Alex Jones, Hero Jones. I'm just asking questions. Okay, so another question. All right, so let's say there is no unlocked moveset.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Bobby is going to fit in with the Smash Mouth brawler style, such as a Moxley, or do you think he's going to be rejected, or do you think he would be rejected? Because like Moxley, he has that like he has that hardcore style, that deathmatch, that deathmatch hardcore brawler style that this fan base they enjoy. They've enjoyed since he came, but that doesn't, and they enjoy it also from Kingston. But Kingston and Moxley are the only two compared to like let's say a Hobbs or a Brian Cage or whatever. So do you think Bobby will fit in this ecosystem? And then I have a second question after that.
I do, because of, you are right with like the brawler style that Kingston and Mox act. That's where my head went. Is like his style is similar to that. The difference is that Bobby also has the power side of it, you know. So he's like power brawler, or he's power like submission. Like that's different than what Mox or Eddie Kingston can offer inside that like that move set, or you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Moveset,
yeah, I'll just stick with like
presentation.
Yeah, like that skill set is different. Like if Mox is brawler technician or brawler like, you know, bruiser, same thing with like Eddie Kingston, brawler bruiser or brawler technician. Bobby's like brawler power, you know, like that's how my head is looking at it. He has a different subclass than they do.
Right.
So I think it can work. I think there's a lot of matches that you could do. I was watching Rampage today, and they had Leo and Top Flight versus the House of Black. I'd love to see like what that crossover between Leo and Bobby looks like now. Like, what does that conversation look like? What does that promo look like? Because now Leo is a competitor. You know, like he's not just a manager that he was in WWE, and that's not a shot, people. That's just me stating what it is right now. I would love to see, like, do you fight? Do you go against Bobby? Like, how does that look like? What does that say? Or what does that promo sound like? You know, like that's what I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of what ifs that I'm curious to see. How does the Hurt Business step up to the Young Bucks? Like, what does that look like? Like, there's money matches to be made there, you know. If you can do Hurt Business versus the Elite, like that, you can still work around that.
All right, last question real quick, and then we'll carry on because I feel like we've been going on long. If Bobby versus Swerve is that first feud, who goes over for you? Like, who wins that feud? Do you do Bobby because he's new, or do you do Swerve because he is the first, you know, black champion, the first, you know, yada yada for this particular?
I would do Bobby, but similar to the Batman Bane style. Like, I know your weaknesses. You're broken still. You're not the same person who you were. I would play it like that. I think that would be really dope to see.
So make it so that his confidence is shot since he lost that.
Since Page. He lost, yeah.
You got the needle in him. Your confidence is shot.
It used to be your house, but it's not your house.
Yeah, you can't break this
Or,
hurt lock, nigga.
your will is broken.
You only embrace the knock.
The darkness.
I was merely, yeah.
I was born in it.
Born in it.
Great fucking movie.
Molded by it.
Molded by it.
All right.
Fucked him up. To quickly go through the rest of Grand Slam, Mariah May defends her AEW World Championship against Yuka. That was also a great match. Yuka's a phenomenal fucking talent. I love, once again, getting more familiar with like the Stardom like talent, and I'm also now it makes sense to me because Mariah was over there in Stardom, so she's getting to work with all like the Japanese talent. They're very familiar with her because she was over there. This makes sense from a business side of it. I just did not pay attention to that before. But the story seems to be
there wasn't that much story, but you got to watch the other shows. Because there was a tag match the other week with like Serena Deeb and Mariah versus Willow and Yuka. We may have talked about it.
Yeah, it was Aminata and Yuka. Yeah, we talked.
Oh, it was Aminata. Okay, yeah, that one was on Dynamite. There was something that happened on Collision because there was a point where like you hear Yuka.
It was Aminata versus Serena Deeb, like, and then Yuka was there. Like, yeah, they've been threading these together. There's a story thread here.
There is a story thread. The only thing is that people, and this is not even a shot. It's just that people don't watch the other two shows that much. Right. More people watch Collision for sure. But the last 2 months, it's only been in like the 200, 300 range, which
I think you got to merge them both. And I think that you merged Collision, and that could be what Shockwave is, to where it's another weekly show. If
video packages and shit will help too. Like, I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Just having a recap or just like this is what happened last week on Dragon Balls. Just
or very, and they are active on Twitter. I do see a lot of AEW clips on Twitter. Because if that's the way you're going with the digital side of it, it needs to be ramped up. It needs to be all the clips of like the show. Kind of like how during pay-per-views we always see like the WWE side. I hate comparing this shit, but like they'll post like the last 30 seconds or a minute of the match that we kind of see what the fuck happened. And just do that after every match on the show. So, yes, there are definitely things that they can definitely do to help us out as viewers. And I think the WB deal will kind of like clarify that shit. But about the feud, it seems that Willow is going to be the next challenger for Mariah.
Which it makes sense and it doesn't. It makes sense in this stance that obviously Willow is one of the most popular women in this company. She deserves a lot of spotlight. It doesn't make sense in the fact that she did lose this feud to Chris, but apparently it hasn't been announced yet. But according, like I've said on the pod, I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I'm tapped in on wrestling a lot, especially on online. And apparently Chris is hurt right now, which has not been officially revealed. But apparently that's why we haven't seen her.
So, rumors, speculation.
Yeah,
she may be hurt.
Allegedly. So this is one of the reasons why we haven't seen her since that match with Willow. So the reason why we haven't seen her since All Out is apparently because she is hurt. So if that is the case, it makes sense to put Willow in that spotlight because, again, Willow's one of the most over acts on the women's side. Don't think she's going to win, but it's something to do, And
it's a pivot. It's a very big pivot.
Yeah, because I feel like I feel like they're trying to lean towards Mina versus Mariah.
Probably.
I feel like they could do a little better job because it's still like after this win or after Grand Slam. I don't know if it was on the main show, if it was one of those, like how WWE has the WWE digital or WWE exclusive. I want to say it was like the AEW version of that, or maybe it was on the show. I'm not sure, but like Mariah was upset and she's like, I still haven't got my championship celebration, but Mina was here, and like you can see Mina as being like kind of confused.
Who
like,
are you?
Like who are you? But then there was still a part where like Mariah was like, give the people what they want, and then like Mina just shaking her shit, which was amazing. It was amazing. But it was just like, so I feel like that's the story that they're going to, which is a good thread story wise. It's just you gotta just, again, like It's not that AEW does not have stories. It's just that they don't translate them the best. They do have stories. They do have.
You got to pay attention. You really have to pay attention.
It's not even just paying attention because, like,
you have interest.
To me, when you say pay attention, it's like when people talk about it with Marvel, where it's like you got to watch the Hawkeye show / watch Loki 1 / watch Wanda 1 to understand what happens in Multiverse of Madness type of shit. To me, that's paying attention. Where it's like if you have to watch a show that like nobody else watches, and there still is not that many video packages anyway. To me, that's not paying attention. To me, that's like you actually have to do homework.
This is okay. So I'll give you a good analogy. At least I think it's a good analogy. Like AEW storylines is like if you told somebody who's really interested in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe to watch What If, that's going to cover everything. So like they're watching What If, and now you got fucking Killmonger as Ultron, and like what the fuck does this all mean? And then making them go back from What If and watch like Black Panther and shit like that. You're telling them the end of the story at the beginning, or something like that, to the sense of like it's very convoluted. They're not giving you the story from the jump. They're not giving you Captain America 1 and then telling you this is why he was frozen, this is his best friend, and you're just following along. You're kind of getting like, this is Captain America and Red Skull. They hate each other. Okay, let's go to Civil War now. Like, wait, what the fuck happened?
I would say it's very similar. It's just that it's also like AEW is just a slightly more convoluted because like if you take Phase 4 for example, and then you're like, okay, you gotta watch Hawkeye, but you gotta also watch you gotta watch Wanda, you gotta watch Hawkeye, you gotta watch Captain America and Falcon, and then you watch all those
She-Hulk and Echo.
Yeah, you watch all those, but then you watch Quantumanium, and then none of those translate to Quantumanium.
None of it.
What the fuck was it? So to me, it's like that. But so it's like you do have to pay attention to Rampage and Collision to an extent, but it's again, it's like it's to that extent because like even though there are threads to it, the threads aren't super tightly woven. I want to say it's woven. Mm-hmm. Woven. So it's like there are threads. They're just not super tight, but there are threads. Like they are like.
And there's
as a hater, as a quote unquote hater, I would be lying to say the last 3 to 4 months they're not trying. They are trying. I would be a liar to say that they're not trying. I just feel like it's still super not cohesive and not consistent. But they are trying.
I think there's story threads, but there's a lot of them, and you can't tell which one is the most important thread of the show.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, and they're supposed to be the alternative people. They are the alternative. So when I say this, once again, just saying it, it's like we know the main thread for Raw is Judgment Day. We know the main thread for SmackDown is Bloodline. But under that, you still have, fucking Bayley, Nia, Naomi. On the other side of that, you still have Gunther, Sammy, to where like Gunther and Sammy's not as loud as, Priest and Finn. It's not the same volume as CM Punk and Drew. So you're able to adjust and see which ones are the bigger stories for each show. And when it comes to AEW, it's not like that. They're all the same level. They're all the same volume. They're not. The album's mixed very loudly. That could be what they like.
Here's an example. Okay, I'm not gonna. So for me, so I'm not gonna say this is the quote unquote better example, but for me, it's like when you think of Raw, like if you think of Raw, like there was that episode where Sammy was going through shit with Braun. Then he hears something backstage, and it's Jey being attacked. So now it's Jey and Sammy versus Judgment Day. Like there was a thread to follow, and it was really easy to follow. And with AEW, like there is that thread. Like they've been like the perfect example, the perfect comparison to the example that I just gave is the example with what's going on with Daniel Bryan. Like Darby had a challenge for him. He won that challenge early August. And he should have had that title match, but now Moxley's showing up. And he's like, let me take that from you. And at the same time, while that's happening, then you have the Nigel shit, where it's like Daniel, and then you have the Christian shit. So Daniel Bryan, as the world champion, has 3 different storylines going on.
Yep.
And they do intertwine because you see Christian and BCC, Neo BCC, that you see them cross twice.
Yeah.
So it is intertwined. Like they're actually trying. It just does not make as much sense because like we were saying, the threads aren't as thick. But even as an AEW hater, I would be a liar to say that they're not at least trying. Like they're making threads. It's just that
because there is
it's just not there.
That's one of the past like 4 weeks of like, okay, so we now know that Mox and them turned on Daniel. We know that Christian won that battle royal. Christian had the shot at Bryan, but BCC stopped him. So there's a thread there that like, hey, you can't cross us. You know,
he has a chance to cash in at any time, but
we're stopping you from doing that. The champion's
old friends are stopping him, and also while at the same time, there's another dude who won a number 1 contendership months ago, so he has that title. So his old friends are stopping Christian, but also his old friends are stopping the new number 1. Like it does thread together. It is cohesive, but it doesn't like the way that they're doing it does like the way that they're translating it doesn't make sense. But you know it's there. You know it is there.
And then to top it off, like because as we talk about the main event is Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley. Later on this match or post match, Private Party steps out to kind of come back out and like fight. So there's even Private Party's a part of this, and you're like, why is Private Party part of this? And then last week he fucking busted his hand open. So there are threads of everything. There's just a lot of individuals.
You know, Wheeler is upset about them turning on Bryan, but he still helped them defend, and they retained the trios.
And I forgot about Wheeler. Yeah,
they retained the
trios. Threads there.
It's a spoiler. Yeah, so there's like they are actually trying. Like these last 2 months, you can tell that they're trying. It's just that it's not fully trained.
There's not thick threads. They're not clean threads. They are threads though.
It's like turning in your rough draft to the professor, and it's like, nigga, this is the rough draft. They have the story. It's there. It's just you're right. It's just not translating 100%.
Like I said before, the main event was Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley. Darby's number 1 contendership is up for grabs this match. Very out the gate. I think Darby might be one of the best sellers in wrestling. I think the shit that he be like, the way he takes moves from certain individuals make them look like it hurts. And I think it's also like his body type that makes it look fucking crazy, but he be getting ragdolled in every fucking match. And I sat there and thought about it too. I was like, okay, this match he's getting fucking ragdolled and looks crazy. The fucking hanging upside down, like he takes all these brutal spots and it makes them look fucking like, it makes other people look fucking solid.
Well, that's because it's 5'9" and like 115. But and that's not me saying it as an insult. It's just that like if you're smaller and you can look like you bounce it, like it was like Darby Allin is this generation's Jeff Hardy, just less popular. Because there was a point in time where Jeff Hardy was bigger than Obama in 2008, like dead ass. And I wasn't even watching at that time. But like niggas love Jeff Hardy. And I was one of them. Like I used to jump off of shit as a child. But it's fuck, I lost my point. But yeah, like his body type does help with it. His body type does help with the selling.
Helps with the way.
I was gonna say that's a good question. Who do we think the best sellers are? That's a good future question because Ricochet had another random interview, or maybe it was the same interview, and they just like these engagement accounts just posted new stuff because that's what they did with Mercedes actually. Because I just saw a new Mercedes quote from the Breakfast Club. And that interview was like, what, last week, 2 weeks ago? And I just saw a new quote today. And I'm like, okay, so now you guys were...
That was this week.
It was this week? Okay.
The same week.
I saw
same day, actually.
Oh, both of them? I saw a new quote today. And I'm like, all right, well, this interview was easily days ago, or at least a day or two ago. And you just dropped a new quote. So they're kind of saving shit, obviously, for engagement. But
for sure.
Ricochet said something to the extent where it was like, I was in WWE. I was told to take people's moves, and that was my role, was to take people's moves. And you can look at it in however lens you want to look at it, but one of the lenses to look at it is like, nigga, if you're a good seller, you're a good seller. It's one of the, like it's like the new meme. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like when your job finally realizes, like when you become important at your job.
Important at the job, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like they realize you were a good seller, bro. Like the way like you sold the shit with John Morrison during the pandemic, or like that scream you did during the Drew Backer, like you can sell. So hey, yeah, if you can sell, then yeah, I'm gonna put you. I'm gonna
that's a good question. We should tap into that. Who are some of the best sellers? Like 5 greatest sellers, not greatest sellers, 5 of your favorite sellers.
Roman selling is what made me a Roman fan, because I came into the league. I'm gonna say the league. I came into the league when it was cool to hate Roman, and I hated Roman too. I booed the fuck out of him. And then there was one day, I want to say it was during the Braun Strowman feud, but there was one day I was watching a match and I was like, oh, he can fucking sell. Like he's selling everything. And then I was looking at a different lens, like, oh, like he does actually have more than 5 moves. He does do a lot more things than just Superman punch a nigga. And then I finally broke out of that fucking mind meld of, oh, let me just boo Roman to boo Roman.
The hive mind.
You know, but there's a lot of wrestlers like that. Like that's what made me a Dolph Ziggler fan. When I first I loved Dolph Ziggler. And it's like, not, it wasn't just his look, but it was like that nigga was selling. Yeah. And Darby Allin, he sells. Like the shit that Moxley was doing him in this match. There was the moment where he does a fucking Irish whip into the corner, and Darby goes through
the beef slips
through the fucking ring. Goes to the middle, the middle and top rope, and like lands on the stairs and then bounces.
Yes.
It's like, that looks like it. And there's another moment where like Moxley slams him on some stairs and it looks like it hurts, but you could, like, if you see it in slow motion, you can tell like Moxley does place him at the right spot, and Darby is good at being a stuntman. Like he's a fucking idiot, but he's good at being an idiot. Like he can sell that shit. He can sell it. He sells it.
He can, man. And it made the match a lot, like, really enjoyable seeing him like sell these spots, because it just makes it look so much brutal, which then in part makes Mox look really fucking good, like really fucking aggressive. Because the whole purpose of his new role is to be like aggressive and just brutal. Like he's doing more with the ropes, similar to how we were talking about Ludwig earlier, just being a little bit more dirtier with the ropes and whatnot. Maybe not cheating, but like using that as a weapon.
Yeah,
itself.
He was using he was on some Jackie Chan shit, dare I say, because he was using his environment in a way that you don't typically see in a wrestling match.
Yep.
Like the way he was slamming, the way he was slamming Darby, like to make it so that his legs hit the rope in a certain way, like all this other shit. Like you don't typically see that. Like, yeah, it's dirty, but it's not super dirty, you know?
Right.
But it is dirty. It's actually it's good shit. Even though I still have my biases or whatever, I can't lie and say it's not, like, the way that it's not being portrayed isn't technically being portrayed good.
Yeah. Match finishes with Darby going for a superplex, and it gets countered mid-air into a Death Rider, and he just gets fucking just dropped.
An Avalanche Death Rider.
That's what Avalanche Death Rider, and that shit was fucking crazy. Mox gets the win, so now Mox has the #1 contendership against Bryan Danielson. And before the night's end, Bryan Danielson comes out and ends up choking Mox out with a tie. Where does he get this tie from? No fucking idea. But he's choking this man out in a purple tie, and it takes 3 bodies to get him off. Shafir's out there. She's been out there from the match with Mox and Darby. Pac comes out. Claudio comes out. They pull him off. And that's where we get Private Party comes out to even the score. Private Party and Commander. Mm-hmm. And it's just all out chaos. And Bryan ends it with, you said you wanted a war. Well, I declare war. And this time, I'm going to kick your fucking head in. Great. Yeah. I'm sold. This is it for me.
Who's going to lose? Fire. I will say, okay, so the necktie thing, that is a spoiler to an old moment when he was in Nexus. When he was in Nexus, I can't remember the ring announcer's name, but he was a friend of Bryan Danielson's, Daniel Bryan. And during that, he choked that announcer with his own tie or whatever. And then he got fired from the WWE. So this is before the yes
announcer.
No, Daniel Bryan.
Daniel.
He got fired.
Oh,
so this is before the yes movement. So he got fired, and this is like at this point, like Regal's like, come back, like just do what you're doing, come back, and eventually he came back, and we get the yes movement, the no movement, yada yada. But so apparently this is an Easter egg to that, because this is not Daniel's, Bryan's. This is not his first time choking niggas out. So from the old heads or the niggas that tapped in, this was an Easter egg to an old thing, because apparently he got fired from the E during his Nexus stint
for choking a motherfucker out with a tie
on TV. Yeah, during
during the PG era, you choking somebody out with a tie. That's probably a little extreme.
Yeah, I mean, for
probably for that for that particular demographic at that moment, it was probably fucking crazy.
Yeah, because after that. On some AEW shit. After that, the first commercial was Men's Warehouse, and you can't have that kind of shit.
No.
You can't have a nigga choking out with a tie, and your first commercial is Men's Warehouse. Just like in AEW, where you can't cut someone with the pizza cutter, and then your first commercial is Domino's. It does not work. Sure. Advertisers will pull out. They will pull out.
Oh fuck! But that was AEW Dynamite, folks, or AEW Grand Slam. Grand Slam Collisions actually happening today. We haven't watched it. I haven't watched it yet. And then next week they have their AEW 5-year anniversary. Next week looks like we're gonna get the return of DMD and Serenity, which I'm.
Yeah, she has a match. Yes, so I want to say there's only 2 matches confirmed: Ricochet versus Will, and then Britt versus Serenity.
Yeah. So let's talk SmackDown.
All right, real quick, because there was something that we missed in Raw. There was a quick video package where you see a circle and you see 3 letters, and it was.
Oh yeah.
It was RP. I want to say it was W. I want to say it was RFP or RPF. So people thought it was Penta and then Rey Fenix.
Oh,
but and this was before obviously this last 2 days or so. But if you look at the lettering, before I even saw shit, to me it looked very Nordic.
Yeah, I thought God of War.
Yeah, I exactly. That was the first thing I thought was Vikings or Thor. Ragnarok. And just yesterday, it comes out that the Viking Raiders seem to both be healthy. So I think that was a Viking Raider season. And also there was news that they might change their name back to War Raiders, which is fine too. So yeah, that was it. I just wanted to tackle that because we didn't mention that. But yeah, there was there was a small tease. We get a ring and fire. You hear some person talking, and you get 3 letters, and they happen to be I want to say it was RPF. So people instantly thought Rey Fenix and Penta, but it's like, does those lettering?
That's too early.
Does that font look Spanish to you? It's
too early.
It looks like they looked like runes. They looked it looked like God of War Ragnarok writing. So we could be getting the Viking Raiders / War Raiders back, which would instantly help the fucking tag team division.
I guess the promo was on Raw. I was like, what show would you put them on? And I guess like obvious answer is Raw.
Yeah. But at this point,
and Raw needs.
SmackDown's going to go 3 hours. Both shows need their tag team divisions boosted. Both shows, honestly, all 3 shows. AEW too. Every like they're the tag team divisions need to be boosted back up on all levels. So, but anyway, SmackDown OKC. The show opens up with Randy Orton. He comes out. He says he's going to be back here, but essentially he asks Cody to come out to explain himself for taking this match. He's like,
bring your bitch ass out here. You're my friend. Well, what?
You're the only person I trust, or one of the only people I trust. I want to know why you took this match. It was a really good natural way to get an explanation other than just having like a moment of a monologue where Cody just talks to the fans by himself. This was a really good
Right.
natural way to have the explanation of why Cody's accepting this match for people like, even though DT said he did change his mind after the video package last week or whatever, but for the people who still didn't change their mind and still think this team up makes no sense, yada yada, this was a good, quick, minor explanation where it's like, I'm doing this for this reason, which this is the second week in a row that they mention, or they drop the word kill. Like they're using words that they didn't usually use.
Bro, we on USA.
I know that,
Like,
but I'm sorry. I'm saying as far as WWE, like they didn't used to say, "I'm going to kill you" or "You're going to have to kill me." And this
true.
is
That's
2 weeks
true.
in a row where like because this week Cody's like the bloodline needs to be killed. Like they're using certain words that they didn't used to use in this PG era, and they're still in the PG era. But also, spoiler alert, apparently if you look at your cable guide, apparently Netflix on CW's labeled or rated as TV 14. So take that as you will. But anyway, I was saying that to say that was an interesting thing. And yeah, so there was another quote where Randy was like, because Cody was like, hopefully this, with all due respect, hopefully this is not a problem for you. I have to do this because I want to. And Randy's like, it's not a problem unless you make it a problem. And then after that, Kevin Owens comes out, which Kevin Owens still didn't get to speak his mind after last week, which is also very heavily noted during the with the commentators. And right before he speaks, we get Bloodline music, and Solo comes out, and essentially he's like, Cody, you need Roman to beat us because you've been failing with these last two. Like, you've been failing with these guys. You can't beat us with these guys. You need Roman to beat us. Further putting seeds in the minds, planting seeds or whatnot, which sets up a tag match for later. And KO, he's starting to be angsty KO, the same KO that we were kind of seeing right after him and Sammy won the tag team titles, where he's kind of just like on 100 immediately every single second. And yeah, he instantly makes a tag team match. And then Cody's like, it ain't got to be a tag team. I'm right here. And KO's like, no, bro.
Nah.
You
focus on your match over there.
Yeah, you got your match at Blood next week, and you already got your partner. We gonna do this tonight.
Yeah, he's petty. Yeah, he's being petty.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you got your match and you got your partner. We good. And you can see like again, like rewatch it just for the facial expressions. But you can they're telling stories. How did you feel about this? If you have anything else to say about it.
No. Like I love this. There's a couple quotables in here where I think Cody had asked him, "Would you rather be a fool or a coward?"
That was a bar. That was a bar. That was because that was the first thing he said to Randy. He's like
that was deep. But also, like, I think Randy's planting seeds. And I would say this because, like, as I think, I don't know if it's this promo, but KO like flips out and Randy's like, I'll talk to him. Don't worry about it. He's just a little tight right now. I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
And there's something that happens at the end, like in the main event, that kind of ties up to this. I think Randy is like being the Viper. I think he's self-sabotaging in certain areas. I think Randy already made up his mind. Once you partner with them, we're done. He's just holding up. He's just saving face right now. I think the Randy turn might happen before the KO turn does. Actually, I guess the KO turn is currently already happening, but Randy's not far behind.
And we don't know this full turn. Honestly, no, I see what you're saying because I did see someone's like I saw a tweet today saying that this is Randy playing 4D chess, and I could see that. I don't think it is because I've seen Randy play 4D chess in my years of watching, and his 4D is a little different from what I'm seeing currently, or from what the fan theories are. But I can see it. I could see it. But I do agree. I think Randy turns before KO. I think this is just KO being upset. Like I think this is another layer. I'm still very I mean, I don't know. Obviously, neither one of us know, obviously. But I'm still very pro, like, KO staying a face and Randy being the one turning. I think that just adds more layers, personally, with story depth and whatnot. But especially with AJ returning, because I'm assuming AJ is going to stay a heel. Like, you don't, like, you can't have too many heels on SmackDown. Like, you have all the Bloodline, you still have Grayson and Waller, you still got Mello, and then you got AJ, and then either Randy or KO. But I don't know if you turn both.
Cody might be in, and this is my comic book head thinking, he might be in the Sinister Six moment where, like, you Peter Parker, but now, like, you have all these people gunning for you, like people that you kind of put away individually, and you kind of like thought like everything was cool. Now it's like you might get attacked from all different angles. You know, you got Randy, you got Bloodline, you got KO, AJ's right around the corner. He coming back. Like, these are all people that you done made deals. Roman's right over here. Like, all the eyes is looking at Cody. Like, you better keep your head on a swivel, like, or else it's about to get chopped off, man.
Yeah,
because you done fucked over a lot of people with this one.
I think Cody heel turn would be great. I don't personally want to see it. No, I don't. I think it's going to happen. I just don't. I don't think it should happen for a very long time.
I'm not ready for Homelander Cody. I'm not ready for that.
I don't even know if it'll be Homeland. I mean, obviously that's the joke, that's the meme. But man, when I see Cody, I see the governor. I see Negan. I see a really calculated, dramatic, monologue-y kind of villain. Like, I see a Doctor Doom. You know,
Cody as a villain,
and if done monologue right before he does the thing. The typical villain shit where they give you a like that, and that's how the hero fucking gets the. I feel he's a very
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he's a monologue. Like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and here's how I'm doing it. And by the end of it, Robin finally shows up or some shit. Thank God. But yeah, man. Spectacular shit, dude. I don't know. Well, I mean, time will play out, but I'm having a hard time believing both KO and Randy will turn. And we both know, obviously, they have a history of turning. That's the narrative. That's the little seeds that have been planted. But I think there is way more. There's way more growth. There's way more equity if you keep Kevin face while still dealing with these demons of not being the full heel that he is, and backbreaking niggas on the apron, and then have Randy do what Randy does, which is be the Viper.
Yeah. Next promo looks like we get a quick little Nia Tiffy promo. Yeah. And I believe Nia is a little paranoid about, you know, the match between Naomi and Bayley is happening. And she's looking at Tiffy like, what's so funny? Why is this funny? Like, you know, what's going on here? Explain this to me.
She threatens her, and it's like, if this ends badly for me, then it's going to end very, very badly for you.
And but in this moment, we see that Tiffy's like not taking too kindly or keen to being choked out. Like, no. So the switches in facial expressions or things are being planted with the way like Tiffany's being treated by Nia for sure. I don't know if they're going to take the complete bullying angle. I don't really like that idea, but I do like the idea of like, hey, I know who the fuck I am. You're not about to just like play me out. Like, that's not what's about to happen here. Like, because Tiffy prior to Nia was Tiffy. So
yeah. So here's my aspect on it, and I'll try to make this very quick. So if it was up to me, I would keep whether Tiffany cashes on Nia or whether she cashes on someone else. I personally think you should keep her heel, because to me this segment kind of leans toward maybe a face turn, because obviously she's being bullied, but also to Nia's. If we're keeping kayfabe alive and we're like trying to pay attention to the storyline, like there's a reason why Nia is being this way. like, based off her relationship with Alexa Bliss and how Alexa Bliss turned on her. So I do understand Nia's behavior, but I also would understand if Tiffany was like, "Fuck this shit, I'm tired of being bullied." My thing is, though, and we just talked about with the men, it's about the heel and face differential. And let's say, because I saw some tweets speculating that, like, oh, Tiffany's going to be a face and they're going to turn Naomi heel. That could work. It can work, especially if it's written right. But I think, like, I think you keep Tiffany heel for a while. I mean, at least until after she gets the belt, right? I mean, like, I feel like heel Tiffany getting the belt makes more sense to me, rather as opposed to a revenge story where it's like, oh, you bullied me to the extent to where I'm taking the title off of you, and you get that, like, good revenge reception, like, oh, she got her upcoming, so she was being mean to you, blah blah blah. But, like, Tiffany's been a piece of shit heel for a while,
right? I think that, like, I like the idea of keeping her. I think that's the best way to do it. But I think she should definitely snake Nia out of her title, and then as she snakes Nia, you add insult to injury by, like, injuring Nia in the same time, kayfabe wise. Like, just going a little bit overboard and maybe taking chairs to the legs or whatever, or tackling the knees or something. That way, you, like, still solidify that I'm the heel, I'm the villain in this story, kind of thing, and then you can work your way back or work something out with Nia, like, as she comes back. But I think definitely keeping Tiffy as, like, a heel is the best move.
Yeah. If it was me, this is my last part. If it was me, yeah, I'd keep Tiffany heel. I'd have her snake Nia, but Nia doesn't get any revenge. You just tease it, and you get that first face off at Rumble.
Yeah, which is why I was like, just a kayfabe injury to kind of keep them away from each other. Like, I wouldn't run it back, like, at all. We get the Bayley versus Naomi match. Winner faces Nia at Bad Blood.
Fire match.
It was a great match. Great match.
I'm going to put the Bianca Io above it.
Yes.
But it was super fucking close to me. Like, it was close. I'm gonna put Io and Bianca above it because not only did I see it live, but I also did watch it back on TV, and, like, I don't know,
smoking.
It was
cooked.
But
cooked.
This Bayley Naomi, like, it was super close. It's 1A 1B. As far as women matches of the year, I think it should be talked about. Bayley has, like, you could argue about how her title reign was. You could argue about, like, how much TV time she had before or after this particular title reign. But as far as Bayley match wise go, she has two fire ass matches that could be nominated for whether it's best women's match or just match of the year contender. Because I feel like her and that I feel like the Mania Io match to me is a match of the year contender. Bianca and Io is either women or match of the year, but this one to me might be one of the best TV women's matches. I don't know. Bayley is always in her bag. Bayley's goated. I'm gonna hang her jersey in her rafters, but, like, this is an amazing fucking TV match, and to have two really good women's TV matches, like, back to back, like, in these, again, just
honestly a little unheard of, but to have, like, it's rare air to have 2 weeks of solid women's matches like that. It's been great.
And just TV match, just a regular
TV, like, for the free.
For free, and they got time. And even Meechin we'll talk about, but even Meechin and Piper got some time. Got way longer.
They got some time.
Yeah. So
Bayley gets damage control graphics, which was funny. I don't know if that was like an insider joke. I know they do shit like that to each other.
No, it was an accident, and that's the second time this actually happened to Bayley. But no, that was definitely an accident.
I was like, huh, interesting. They start the show saying that Naomi's been on a 7-year drought from, like, the WWE title, like any kind of, like, singles championship, and that she's only beat Bayley once. which is what I was like, oh, maybe Naomi might get this win. But overall, my notes was the Uno gear was fire.
Oh yeah, fire.
They did a fucking neck breaker off the top of the rope, which is fucking clean. And I like the elbow drop better than I like the rose plant.
Yeah, the elbow drop is fire.
Like I like the simplicity, the simplicity of the elbow drop. The rose plant can take a little bit long to set up. But I love this as an alternate, like, finisher for Bayley. This is really cool.
She's won matches with it before. The elbow drop. I mean, I fucked with the elbow drop. It's one of those things where it's like it's similar to the frog splash, where it's like someone's going to have a better frog splash. Like Montez has one of the best, so when Dominic does it, doesn't look that great. Io, or not Io, but Kari, her elbow drop is absolutely fire. So when someone else does it, it doesn't hit that much. And I feel like that's the problem with it. But other than that, no, like the elbow drop is fine. She has a really great Macho Man-esque elbow drop. And I also do like it better than the rose plant and the Bailey to belly. I'd never liked the Bailey to belly personally.
Yeah.
I think it's too basic of a fucking move. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love Bailey though, so it is what it is.
Bailey gets the win. So she faces Nia at Bad Blood. Mm-hmm. After that, we get the Andrade promo where he's in the back and he's approaching, LA Knight. But hey, man, like, as a real man shakes someone's hand, you lost my respect. And before LA Knight can get out one word, he gets automatically just haymakered by Carmella Hayes, just kicked over the table. And I'm like, oh, that's how we started. And then he turns around to Andrade like, it's your turn. Come get some. You want some of this too?
Yeah, come on.
I'm like, oh, this dude is unhinged. I like it. I like a little. Every once in a while, you need to crash out. And he's the crasher. I like it. This sets up Andrade versus Melo 6. At this point in time, I knew that LA Knight was going to be a part of this. But I didn't know like this is where they were going to set it up, right? So, of course, we already know they had a great fucking showing here. And every fucking time they do it, they keep upping the ante. Like it's always like something that wasn't done before is done in this match.
Yeah, no,
and this one was really Melo led too. Like Melo had a lot of dope fucking spots in this match.
They are officially wrestling soulmates at this point. They are like I talked about it when I talked about Kevin and Sammy. Like there's certain wrestlers who can wrestle a billion times, and every match is going to be at least slightly different. And they're at this point. Every match has been different. This match was fire. I was locked in. I couldn't write all the spots, but just from off the top of my head, there was a spot where it was one of the first bigger spots early in the match where essentially like Andrade does a power slam to Melo on the side of the apron. Fire as fuck. There was Melo hitting his version of the Cody Breakker out of nowhere. That shit was fire. Fucking obviously Andrade, he does the move every match, but it still gets a big pop, especially not even the elbow. Yes, that fucking elbow.
That was like the elbow was like
that needs to be his fucking finisher.
It's fucking great.
The elbow that fake out the miss kick with the elbow is one of the best fucking moves in wrestling right now, in my opinion. It is so fucking fire, and everyone sells it well. I've not seen a single person sell it bad.
It's good. It's just too fucking.
But even before that, the spot that Andrade does it every match, but like it depends on when he does it, and it always gets a big pop. It's that the fake moonsault,
the backflip, into the other backflip,
which Charlotte started doing a couple of years ago when he was not when they split up, but when they were on separate shows. But that spot it got a "This is awesome" chant. And it's like we see him do this move every time, but it's like when it happened in the match and how it played into the story, which is why it's like it's garnishing this kind of reaction. But that back elbow, there was the suplex into the fucking cutter / RKO,
Yep.
whatever you want to fucking call it. That move was
Swinging neck breaker,
which was also kind of similar to how Moxley and Darby ended their match almost.
Yeah.
Both fire endings, both looked really good. Yeah, man, just whew. And guess
fucking
what?
Solid.
It led to, even though like you can argue it wasn't quote unquote clean, I guess, because Andrade or not, LA Knight comes out, which kind of distracts Andrade, which sets up Melo for the win. But guess what that does, though? It leads to one of the two best words in all of sports. You know what that is?
Game 7.
Game 7. Game 7.
But Game 7 is with LA Knight. And I'm like, I would do it that way. I would leave it to where nobody wins the series. It's 3-3 right now. And Game 7 is with LA Knight. I think this is I like it. I think this is a pay-per-view match. I wrote them on. I think running these three this is definitely a PLE kind of like match for sure. It probably gets on SmackDown because of course Bad Blood's already like, full. But this is a fucking great match. It's gonna be great if it was just them two, but I think if they add the element of LA Knight in this, it's smoking. This is gonna be a fucking fire match.
Yeah, for me, honestly, I think we should do the triple threat before Game 7. If we're doing it just on the way the story was told, because Andrade won Game 5 and then he got his title match. So the way I would book it, Carmelo won Game 6, he gets his title match, something happens, we get that triple threat, LA Knight retains, then we get that Game 7. And then we finally close this fucking feud. That's how I would do it. Just based off of how the story was already told, or how it's been being told. Because I feel like if you do Game 7 before the triple threat, then it's like you already have a determined winner out of this feud. So I feel like we should get the triple threat first, and then we can define it. Like then we determine who was the better out of this particular 2-person feud, and then whoever wins that can get the second chance at LA, and maybe they win it, maybe they don't. Whoever that is, whatever.
And I would be with you, but there's definitely things that are planted here to where like the promo was he didn't respect LA Knight, he didn't shake his hand, right? And then in the match, or in that same promo, Carmelo attacks him. And then post this match, Andrade gets in LA Knight's face. So now LA Knight's like, well, fuck it. If you mad and you mad, both y'all can come get some right now kind of thing.
Right, but LA did try to shake his hand and calm the nerve. Because Andrade was mad because, like, what the fuck you come off here? Why you come out here and cost me this match? And, well, in LA Knight's, well, I came out because this motherfucker attacked me. Look, here. Shake my hand out. Shake my hand out. Okay, you probably never seen this viral clip, but there's this one dude on a plan where he's like, I want you to shake my hand. And it was very aggressive. But that's what LA Knight was doing. Whereas at this point, he's like, my bad. Shake my hand. I'm sorry now. Shake my hand. And Andrade's like,
and maybe actually, fuck that. You might be right to where like he may just come next week and be like, okay, well now it's Hayes versus LA Knight because you attack me, come get in this ring and fight me 1-on-1 like a man kind of thing. And then Andrade's like, well, no, fuck all that. Like, you don't get to have this match, Nah. I don't know. Like, I see the way that you said it happening. I just think Game 7 will be the triple threat and not the extra match. But either way, I'm fine either way.
Well, then it's not a real Game 7. That's my only thing. It's not a real. It doesn't really end the feud if you add another. I feel like you should add another nigga now to get it over with. But then after that, we gotta squash this beef. So to me, I feel like you repeat the same story elements because again, Game 6, Andrade got the title match. Or no, Game 5, Andrade got the title match. So Game 6, Carmelo should get the title match. It ends. It doesn't even have to end with interference. It can end clean because I want to say he beat Andrade clean also. And and then you get that Game 7 where it's like, all right, you didn't beat LA, I didn't beat LA, but guess what? You and I are tied, nigga. So let's finally finish this. And then whoever wins it, then we get that LA rematch. Yeah,
I was thinking about that too. Like you do the rematch clause or rematch for the United States title, or you just fucking do Game 7. Whoever wins Game 7 gets the fucking title shot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like whoever wins games, like we both lost our individual title matches. We're both tied now. Whoever wins Game 7, they get that title rematch. I feel like that's the
that makes
easiest, simplest way to book it.
I'm gonna smoke through these real quick.
Yeah.
There was the KO promo or where he doesn't want to talk to Cody. He doesn't want him to come out. And then Randy tells Cody that he would love to have him out there.
Yeah, it's very similar to what happened with Kofi last week with LWO, except for we actually see the talking with it.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same story elements.
And then, but KO walks off. He's like, don't worry, I'll talk to him. And that's what I was mentioning earlier is that, like, Randy said that he'll talk to him about Cody coming out. That did not happen.
No, he said he talked to him in general. It wasn't about... It was more about, like, I'll talk to him as far as calming him down, because obviously KO comes off, he's coming off very tense. It wasn't about, it wasn't specifically about, I'll talk to him about you having our back.
Your help.
It was more about, like, look, man, obviously he's on one.
He's tripping.
You know, I mean,
I got you.
He's upset, but he's also focused. Let me talk to him after the shit. But just in case some shit goes down, just have her back real quick. But when it's all, like, I will talk to him so that everything is cool, because obviously he's coming off a little aggressive.
We get Piper versus Michin. Yeah. And this sets up it's a setup for the dumpster match that's supposed to happen next week. Yeah. My only note was that the crucifix bomb this was fucking hard. I did like that. And then I have a question is that, like, what do we expect in a dumpster match aside from the obvious dumpster? Like, what do you want out of this match? Like, what are you looking for?
Okay, well, look. I'm expecting violence / comedy because, like, I'm a Michin.
It's Chelsea Green. It's going to be funny.
Chelsea Green is going to be funny. I am a Michin fan, but her in-ring work is not the greatest. Like, all her best matches are street fights for the most part, and there's a reason for that. And it's because you can hide behind street fights. So I'm expecting to be entertained. That's it. Honestly, like, this feud, among other feuds in any company, is one of the, well, I wouldn't say any company. If we're just talking WWE specific, like, what this feud is another, like, it's a reason to, or it's like, this is kind of why we need a mid-card title a little bit, you know, just because, like, they need something to do, because Michin already fought Nia, so it's like, beating Chelsea isn't going to get you back to the main. If it does get you back to the main contenders match, where it was like you already lost, and she lost in her specialty match, which was a street match. So, you know, and it's like if Chelsea wins, I can't imagine Chelsea fighting Nia. I mean, it could happen. You can easily, like, Chelsea's one of those kind of characters to where, like, you can switch her between week because she's so comedic, where it's like her and Piper could be the face to a Nia, and then next week they could still play the heel to a Naomi or something like that.
Right.
So it could work.
I think adding the mid card would just make it even rougher. Because for the same example you said is that, like, you know, in ring, it's just like, damn, it's really hard to watch you in ring. And if you're only good in street fights, you can't always have a street fight with a mid card title. So it would just magnify all the bad shit. No. And I don't know.
I was saying it in the sense where it's like, you can obviously we can have women's feuds that don't revolve around the main title, but there's still so many women on the roster to where you could argue for a mid card. It's just like how we were talking about with the mid card before / women's tag. You just have to build out these stories and build out these divisions and make it work. But we could have a women's Intercontinental and make it work. Like, there's women, like, this feud with just Chelsea and Michin, even though it's like it's not a Punk or Drew level, it's not a fucking Roman Cody level or anything like that, but it's been entertaining enough to where, like, motherfuckers are, you know, we're getting vignettes, we're gonna get a dumpster match. Don't remember when last time we saw that. So right. And that can also work on Raw, you know, it can work on, you know, NXT, like, because NXT has the North America's women's champion. So I feel like it's an example of why we could have it. Even if you don't use these two particular characters, it's a reason to still argue why you should have a mid card to make a feud that it doesn't involve the world one, if that makes sense.
Right. Kind of like once again a stepping stone to get you into like the main level.
Yeah.
Like if hypothetically you were to give Michin the Sammy treatment with the IC belt, by the time she lost the mid card title, she would be main event ready.
You could
or
see,
main event feud ready.
You can at
could
least
see
imagine it more, or it makes it more
Yeah.
believable, type of
For
thing.
sure. As far as like my idea of what I just want the comedy side of it. I expect one of the dumpsters to be filled with something. Kind of like my head went to like slime-esque, like something in like the Nickelodeon slime world, or maybe it's filled with like fucking, I don't know, chocolate pudding or some shit to make it look like dirt or trash. But just something like that and Chelsea getting dumped in it. I think that would be really fucking entertaining. That's what I'm looking for. After this, we get word that the next week the tag team belts will be up in a triple threat tag team ladder match between DIY, Profits, and the Bloodline. This is also along with the dumpster match. So next Friday is going to be some shit. Also, AJ Styles is claimed to be returning next week as well. So the go home show for SmackDown is going to be filled with some solid shit.
Yeah, hopefully it should be fun. Absolutely.
Main event: Randy and KO versus the Bloodline, Solo, Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu. My first note is that KO was getting blasted by that fucking corner hip thrust. He was getting fucked over entirely. And actually, throughout this match, they were kind of tag teaming, kind of preventing him from getting the tag on Randy.
Blasted by a quarter hip thrust is, out of context, is a very...
Hey,
very wild. But yeah, absolutely, you're right. And then there was a moment where Randy does his typical back body slam drop or whatever on an announcer table, and Fatu sold it. So then he did it to him like 3 more times. That was fire.
That was dope.
Good match, but obviously it ends with some shenanigans because eventually Cody comes out, which KO's kind of upset about. Randy's out of the picture, and it leads to the baby faces losing. And
Jacob takes Cody and throws him into the ref as KO's getting the pin, and KO's looking at Cody like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, I almost had this like match won. But it's the way that it happened to where, what if KO thinks that he's sabotaging? Like, what, you're just now working for the Bloodline now by like helping them win matches? Like, you're supposed to be my friend kind of thing. You taking out the ref? Like, it could look a little funny based on how like that happened. But yeah, post-match KO is flipping out. He's not happy. He's hot that he lost. But Randy is seeming to like tell KO post match that he asked Cody to be there to help him out, like kind of like hinting at what he told him earlier. And KO's just not hearing it, man. Like,
he was very hot headed. He like even there was a point in time where he even pushed Randy off of him
and then Randy got in his face. And that's like, don't tempt the Viper, man. Like he's playing friendly with everybody.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I think that's the only reason why I think Randy's not personally playing 4D chess right now, because I saw speculations where it's like Randy asked Cody to come out just to like tempt the flames or whatever. I don't know if he's playing 4D chess based off that reaction, but he still could be. We'll find out in time. But as of right now, I think they're all baby faces. I just think there's frustration, and they're trying to explain that, show that frustration, which makes sense because you don't usually, honestly, in old wrestling, you don't typically see that as much. Where, like, for example, like if in old wrestling, Roman came back, he'll be all smiles and hugging kids and whatnot. But no, like when he came back, he was like, "I'm still the same nigga. Like I'm still me. I'm still the tribal chief." Yada yada. So to me, like, this is a more realistic way where it's like, I don't know. To me, it's more realism. To where it's like, I've been beefing with them like for 4 years, and you're going to team with them. Okay.
We'll see. We'll see how this works.
Yeah, I helped you all many times. All right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I do like this side of it. Although the tag team with Roman feels a little weird to me. I do like the aspect and like the ideas of what it produced, which is everybody looking at Cody real fucking funny right now. It's like,
Yeah. And people are going to look at Roman funny the same way. It's going again, like I've been trying to tell DT and other people where it's like Roman is going
Solo
to
already is going to look at him funny.
Yeah,
Rock's going to look at him funny.
He's already looked. He's like, oh, you guys are friends now. You guys are friends. Like they're they're already friends. But it's like, again, it's similar to like that whole year when Jey first went solo. Like he had to make it up to everybody on Raw, and Roman's going to especially. Because honestly, I have a theory. I don't know if we're gonna get that OG Bloodline versus new Bloodline.
Don't do that.
I don't know if we're gonna get that.
Fucking hell, bro! I saw some shit where a nigga had posted. It was Roman, Cody, KO, Randy versus Bloodline, and I'm like, I don't want that.
I don't know if it'd be that. I feel like Jimmy will be a part of it, but. Honestly, as of right now, there's still plenty of time. Oh, there's 2 months, or no, there's like a month and a half.
It's like a month. Yeah.
There's still time, quote unquote. But as of right now, I'm not seeing it's hard to see Sammy and Jey join. Jey finally,
especially within this timeline, like a month and a half is not a lot of time to build that story.
And he's finally he's been trying for a year to be his own, about a year to be his own man, and like now he finally won his first singles title. Why would he go back? There's no reason.
Jesus shit. All I want is OG versus new Bloodline. Like and I guess that's what a lot of fans want too.
That's what everyone wanted. That's what everything was predicted, and that's why I'm like, I think they're gonna swerve us. Otherwise, I feel like Jey would have lost.
That makes it hurt, bro. If we do all this shit and we don't get OG versus new Bloodline, I'm going to be tight.
Because I don't know. To me, between what happened with Jey and Roman specifically, it's going to take more than a month to replenish that relationship. To me,
and this is why, like, I could see that maybe it's not KO Randy, but maybe it's Roman, Cody, Jey, Sammy kind of thing. Because Jey and Cody have a good relationship, kind of like to where like you were there to help me out. I need your help kind of thing. But it comes with the cost of he's going to be on our team too. So maybe it's that part. I don't see a main event happen at Survivor Series that does not include Cody Rhodes.
I can see it being Roman and Jimmy having to convince Jey, and Jay's like, I'm only going to do this if Sammy comes with me.
Okay.
And then we get Sammy and Cody, or we get Cody. I don't know if Cody's going to be in the War Games. I think Cody.
There's no way he's.
I think we finally. I think in the next month and a half, next 2 months, it branches out to Cody versus Randy, or Cody.
I was thinking about that, yeah, or it could be Cody versus Randy at Survivor Series.
But, I mean, I don't know. They can go anyway, but I honestly, as of right now, I am on the. I don't know if Jay's going to be a part of it. I don't like it,
but I love talking about it.
Yeah,
this is great.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more. But character wise, development wise, like.
Especially with how they produce shit, like it's going to take longer than 90 days.
If he was to join, it would be backtracking character wise at this point.
Let's see, because
he's literally done every
2, 3, 4. That's 6. That's 6 shows. That's 6 Smackdowns. They're not going to be able to get that story fleshed out in 6 Smackdowns, bro. Like it's not going to happen.
And that's all. I mean, they would have to add it to Raw, also
for sure.
So then that would be 12 shows. So that gives you time, but also. Then that means there's Bloodline storylines on both shows, which is taking up more time from other wrestlers, which people are going to be upset about.
If the rumors are true about Bloodline and Raw on Netflix, then that could be the pivot to where November is 2 months from January, 3 months from January.
Yeah.
So like that could be a good time to do that as well. I don't know. A lot of speculation, a lot of speculation talk for sure.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get out of here. That was the episode, folks. Thank y'all once again for tuning in. From all the different, platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
iHeart.
Yeah, we out there for sure. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate the comments. And we'll get back to you guys in the next one. It's been real. I'm your host, Jay. Peace out.
Hero too sweet.